KDF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time on a Friday afternoon. Last day of the week. Bryant Dacus, J. Morgan Harder with you for the next 3 hours to get you to the weekend. And we've got a lot to get to today to get you started with that weekend. But right now we do have a one baseball game on this afternoon. The Cubs and their regular Friday afternoon home game against the Kansas City Royals, who we've mentioned multiple times this week, kind of trying to play spoiler in a series against the Mariners that they ended up losing 3-1, but all four games were very competitive and very close. Right now, the Royals up 4-3 over the Cubs in the bottom of the sixth, so Kansas City continues to kind of be that pesky team for a couple teams that are trying to make a wild card run.
I would say the Cubs have been struggling, but I was informed earlier today by, quite frankly, the peskiest caller I've ever experienced in my life, that they've won more than 20 games since the All-Star break, which is incredible.
That's
right?
incredible.
Isn't that credible?
Yeah, it really is.
They just lost to the White Sox in a series.
Needed
Literally just happened. So I don't want to
walk-off
hear
to win it.
what they did a month ago. I don't frankly give a crap. They just lost to the White Sox. They just lost to the White Sox.
They did.
That's embarrassing.
Avoided a sweep with a walk-off homer.
You're on the brink of making the playoffs. You're in a divisional race, and you lost to the White Sox.
Very bad.
Twice.
Unfortunately, I've had to watch a lot of White Sox this year, and they're not a good team.
Terrible baseball team.
They're a very bad team.
Reds are helping them out, though, because they're not doing a whole lot of winning either.
And I'm pretty sure the Brewers have kind of a tough schedule, or at least had a tough schedule. I know they're playing the Dodgers, right? Or just got done playing the Dodgers, I should say.
I mean, I like baseball, so I'm intrigued by everybody that might make the playoffs just because they're playing regular season games. But if we're like, there's no delusions here that like we're talking about these teams, if they make the playoffs, anything can happen. No. Any of these teams make the playoffs, they don't have a chance in God's green earth, let alone in hell, because they got the Braves and the Dodgers to deal with that are seemingly winning at will. And anything can happen in the playoffs with these teams. I'm watching the Cubs play. I'm watching these teams that are on the brink play. They're not even close to being good enough to win a playoff series. They're just grasping at straws at this point to literally claim that they were a part of the playoffs. That's literally what the banner that they would hang if they were to hang one.
It's just so hard. I mean, we talk a lot about the Braves
phone's ringing.
because they're regional and because they're so good. I mean, I don't think we're just talking about them because they're regional and we get them on the Bally networks. I mean, this team is unbelievable.
That's the weakest regional team of all time, isn't it?
It's so weak.
I think they are in market in Nashville, though. I think that's really where the market comes into play.
Really?
In Nashville. I think Nashville gets Braves and Reds.
Interesting.
And so they go that way. So it legitimately is in market for Nashville.
Sure.
And I think we just get like the carryover of that. It's kind of how like I'm assuming it's like how the Predators and Grizzlies are the mainstay when baseball season starts.
Sure.
If those two teams are playing, even if the Braves, Cardinals, doesn't matter is on.
Those two get the priority.
So I think that's kind of how we get the Reds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we're technically in market for the Braves and Cardinals, and then thanks to our brothers up in Nashville, we get the Reds too.
Interesting. Okay, but I mean, when you look at some of these teams like the Reds, like the Cubs, like really any team in the NL that's kind of in that wild card position, with how good the Braves have been this year, that lineup it's almost daily. You look at the box score, and in the first inning, the Braves have 3 runs in the first, and then that pitching rotation is seemingly coming together, getting healthy at the right time. So, I mean, when it comes to those top teams, anything can happen in the playoffs, but I mean, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat the Braves in a series, I think.
If you need any indicator how well the Braves are scoring, go look at the odds on a daily basis for their runs first inning and no runs first inning number. It's ridiculous. I mean, most of them you'll see close to even money pretty much either way. One of them will probably be plus money every day. The Braves games consistently, regardless of their opponent, regardless of who was on the mound, because they have scored in the first inning of so many games this year, is always like, I mean, it's minus 140 or more,
right?
I've
seen a ton. They're like minus 175.
Yeah, I mean, they're ridiculous. So
and it has nothing to do with the pitchers. It's just these bats are
I'm just trying to think
hot.
of the lowest number I've seen. I was going to say 150, but minus 140 is probably closer to the real lowest number I've seen in the last month or two. So if that's the indicator. That's all you need to. That's the indicator right there of how well they score in these baseball games.
Oh, absolutely.
Even in the first 5 innings against other teams' starters. You know, some teams will knock the starter out and then start coming on hot, and that's generally how it works when you got good bats. The Braves don't care if you're a starter, reliever, ace, fifth man, bullpen day. They're scoring runs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And another thing I know,
Yuri Perez, who had a sub-1 ERA.
And that was when he was so hot, and, I mean, nobody could touch him, and he didn't make it through one inning.
He was coming off of like a sub-1 ERA for June and July. Is that right? Or May and June?
May and June.
May and June
because he got
when he
called
played
down
the Braves.
right before the All-Star break.
Yeah, so it was May and June when he played the Braves. He had a sub-1 ERA in both months.
Yep.
And then he came and played the Braves and just got beat up like you wouldn't believe. Yeah,
it was incredible. It was like 7 runs in the first inning. It was wild. And then one thing I know you've brought up a couple of times is like their first 5 total runs in most games is like set at like 3.5. And like
where the baseline number is generally 2.5.
Yeah.
Every team's at 2.5, and then you'll sometimes get it slipping down if there's a good pitcher on the mound,
like
or maybe a team is really struggling, like the Pirates were really struggling to get runs across for a period of time. It would slip down to 1.5 in the first 5 innings. The Braves every night is going to be 3.5, and the time you look to bet on it is if you get plus money, because there's a lot of nights where it's like minus 120 or something like that.
There was one, I can't remember if it was early. It had to have been earlier this week. Maybe last week. I don't remember. It was one day, and we were doing...
Especially if it's a bad opponent, too. It really brings
We were doing Dave's show in the morning, and we were just kind of looking. It wasn't like a day we were just like betting all out, but we were just kind of looking at stuff.
Oh, this was Tuesday.
It was
that
Tuesday,
was the best
that's
bet
right.
of the day.
And it was 3.5 plus money.
Yeah, let's see what they're playing
at 10 a.m. it was plus money, and then by the time, because I don't...
You don't do it when we talk about it.
I don't do it early in the morning. I'm bad about that.
It was the Yankees with Luis Severino on the mound on Tuesday.
Yeah, and so by the time I got in my car or that afternoon, I looked at it again. It was plus money that morning. By the time I looked at it later that afternoon, evening, it was like minus 125. So, just that quick, people are just jumping on him. And to expect a team to score 4 runs in the first 5 innings on a daily basis like that is crazy.
So, did seeing that odds movement, did that motivate you at all to, when you're talking about these games, to start putting in these bets early? Or are you going to continue to do it with 1 minute left to spare before the game? Or worse, 15 minutes after the game starts, you look at me and you go, crap, I forgot to put the bets in.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah, no, that's transparency is what I'm looking for.
So
it's not changing your behavior at all?
This morning, I was in the shower and I was looking at some stuff on my phone, and there were some soccer games today, and so I was kind of looking at things and stuff, and there was a soccer game that I was like, I kind of like both teams to score in this game. Again, don't know anything about these two teams. I was just like, whatever, let's just look, see what's going on. BTTS. I looked at it this morning. Both teams to score was minus 105. About 5 minutes before the game started, I was sitting in there behind you during John's show, and it was minus 130. And I was like, I should have bet that this morning.
Yeah. How many times have you said that now? That's twice this week at least.
At least. Probably more than that. So it happens a lot. I don't know.
It happens all the time.
I'm not into the whole...
making money?
Yeah, honestly.
Taking odds, they give you the best chance to make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Because picking these outcomes is difficult before the games take place.
Well, and also,
even more difficult when you're betting on sports that you don't know anything about.
Like soccer.
Yeah.
I didn't end up betting it.
So, odds are important.
I didn't end up betting it, and I don't think it hit, so that was good to not bet it. But
how often do you bet it, even when you see the odds movement in a terrible way that goes against you? All the time?
I mean, it just depends how much it moves. Like, I'm not going to bet, like...
Did you bet that Braves team total?
Oh, absolutely. It was like minus 120 or something like that. Yeah, definitely bet it.
It was plus 120 when we took it earlier.
What a shift. What a movement.
So, but $40 per 100 is not enough to make you say, no, I'm not doing that.
No, because I was like, it seems like a great bet. I can still make money on it in some sense.
$100 better.
I'll just double my units. How about that? Instead of putting 1 unit on it, we'll put 2.
But if the better that took plus money doubled their units, they would make $80.
Be rich almost. I mean, but I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Is if you give me a good bet and you're like, I really like this bet, and it's like plus money or something, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna take that. And then if later that night I see it, it's like minus money now, I'm like, I'll just double my units. Jay Morgan feels good about it, and then I blame you if it doesn't hit.
That's right. So you don't have to take any accountability.
Yeah, seems like it.
That's right.
I mean, good.
What a great system you've worked out for yourself.
What can I say? Nothing's my fault. How about that?
Yeah, no, you're right, though. The Braves are scoring a lot of runs.
A ton of runs.
And the odds reflect that, certainly.
Who do they play this week? I know. I just saw Spencer Strider's pitching tonight.
The Giants. Alex Cobb on the mound.
And the Giants struggle hitting the ball.
Can't score. They do have a couple good pitchers, but the thing about Giants pitchers, if you look at road-home splits, there's one that the road-home splits are not bad for. I can't remember who that is. I haven't looked at the stats in about a week or two. But generally the Giants pitchers struggle more on the road, and the bats are cold. Home road, Mars, Jupiter, doesn't matter. The bats don't score in San Francisco.
Yeah. Interesting.
Is it?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
If you're a baseball fan, it is. But if you're not, man, you want to kill us.
Really. I saw Gabe
Sandy Alcantara on the mound tonight.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Tony Gonsolin against Tony Gonsolin.
Oh, against Tony Gonsolin. That's awesome. But Gabe Kepler in that game is going to be he's suspended tonight for he re-entered the dugout after being thrown out. Can't do that. No.
Bobby Valentine did that once in a disguise.
He did. That's right. That's right. Because I remember talking about Gabe Kepler with his cutoff hoodie and the long sleeve shirt underneath it. That was the game he got thrown out in, and then so I guess he'll be suspended tonight. So that's no good. I do want to mention this before we get into top and not top story, or really get into anything. Yesterday, we talked to Rob Fisher about the Grizzlies schedule, Grizzlies offseason, a little bit of everything, him leaving his daughter at soccer practice. But tomorrow, he's going to be emceeing the 10th annual Memphis Runs for Autism, benefiting the Angel program. It's the 10th anniversary, like I said, of the Memphis Runs for Autism. It's 5K. It's going to be taking place tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. at Holy Rosary. That's 4851 Park Avenue. So definitely a great cause and a great event tomorrow morning that Rob Fisher is going to be a big part of. If you want to register for the 5K tomorrow, or even donate if you can't make it tomorrow, you've got a lot going on, but really want to help out a good cause, go to memphisrunsforautism.com. Like I said, you can register for the race tomorrow. You can also just donate if you can't make that race tomorrow, but it's definitely for a good cause. And Rob Fisher, who's kind enough to join us very often, he's going to be a big part of that. Like I said, emceeing it tomorrow. I know how much he looks forward to that event every year, so I want to make sure I mention it. We'll bring it up again a couple more times later in the show, so everyone can get involved for it tomorrow.
Bobby Valentine, by the way, names that connote Valentine's Day. Also, Bohart.
Ooh, good one. Any more? Just those two.
Kevin Love.
Denzel Valentine.
Valentine's closed. I just used Bobby Valentine.
Yeah, you sure did, didn't you?
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love's a good one.
Bob Huggins.
That's a really good one. Wow.
Richie Sexton.
Wow.
That's true.
Colin
Romeo
Sexton.
Crennel.
That's a good one. A lot of Romeos you can choose.
Freddie Couples.
Fred Couples.
How about that?
It's great.
Justin Rose. Because you can.
Another good one.
Justin Rose also works for names that connote plants too.
Ooh.
Tyler Flowers. Anyway.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
that's enough naming names.
No, that was great. We'll
do it another day.
Well, yeah, really. Let me set up today's show before we get into top and not top story of the
Rex
day.
Grossman. Sexy Rexy.
That's not his name. It's a nickname. A little different. 3:30.
Chocolate Thunder.
Again, a nickname. These aren't names. These would be nicknames that connote Valentine's Day.
They'll work for Valentine's
Day. Different list, I'm afraid. But at 3:30, we're going to talk about the NFL. We had one preseason game last night with some interesting things taking place, and we'll have a couple tonight and some other news from around the league. 3:45, we talked a lot about the NBA schedule yesterday for the Grizzlies, but some other interesting things throughout the schedules on a national level that I want to point out and talk about. We'll also get to some other NBA news at around 3:45. Bruce Marshall will join us at 4 o'clock. He's from Vegas Insider in CBS Sports as we get closer and closer to the college football season. And also we'll have to get his thoughts on what happens to these 4 remaining Pac-12 teams as he's kind of over there on the West Coast and keeps close tabs on the Pac-12 conference. We'll get his thoughts on what could take place for those 4 remaining teams. We'll do that to start the second hour. 4:30, we'll get into some more baseball talk as some top prospects being promoted in the Cardinals organization. Mason Wynn set to make his Cardinals debut tonight. We'll talk about that and some other things going on in Major League Baseball this weekend. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Ty Richardson from ESPN Fort Smith will join us to talk about the SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks to start our third hour. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The summer clearance sale going on right now, and Family Leisure needs your help to clear out inventory. All DIY pools, $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pool, less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Patio furniture up to 30% off. And don't forget about the spas. They're in stock and up to $1,200 off. The 24-month same as cash financing is still available only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. And when you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day is this new documentary coming out about
that Elvis documentary you watched the other day, or not that one?
That would be what I could
do what I do without.
I mean, maybe wait.
You have
for
to listen
that
later, and it might be what he does about today.
It might be now that you remind me. Not a great documentary, but no, this documentary coming out next week about the Florida Gators Swamp Kings. It's going to come out on Netflix, part of their Untold series, I guess collection you would say. They had the one that a lot of people were really excited about and a lot of people thought was really, really good about Johnny Manziel earlier this month. This one, the Johnny Manziel one, was just a one-off, one show to tell the Johnny Manziel story. This Swamp Kings documentary will be a 4-part story talking about the Florida Gators and their dynasty run of a couple national championships. Tim Tebow there, Aaron Hernandez there, and Urban Myers and what he built there and kind of everything that came along with it, which I think a lot of those stories are extremely interesting and extremely fascinating. You read all the stories about just all of the arrests that happened while Urban Myers was the coach at Florida and how everyone just said he would make them go away, and then it would be this big news for a night, and then it would just go away, and nothing would happen. And then the kind of complexities of all these different players that you have on the team. I saw they dropped an extended trailer today, and they were a lot of the players were calling Gainesville Gaines Vegas, and they said that we were just partying all the time when we weren't practicing and weren't supposed to be in classes. We were just partying all the time. They felt like they ran the city, and so I'm really excited about this, and it comes out next week, I think the 22nd or the 23rd, so middle of the week next week it will be out, and I can't wait to watch it.
Gaines Vegas.
That's
what I call Collierville. Collier Vegas.
Call Vegas.
Nashville.
Nash Vegas. See, that one's just made
if it's a Ville, it's a Vegas. It fits in real nice. My top story of the day, a little bit off script.
That's fine.
Talking about Freddie Couples. Who's the best Fred? We're not making a lot of Freds anymore. Who's the best Fred in the history of sports?
Fred Freeman.
Freddie Freeman's a good one. Football, Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor's a good one. Fred Van Vliet.
Fred Bolitnikoff. There's the Bolitnikoff Award.
One.
Fred McGriff just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
How can we forget?
The Crime Dog.
Yeah.
Freddie Freeman.
Fred Van Vliet.
He didn't qualify as one of the best. No. Oh, the mayor. Fred Hoiberg.
Oh, that's a good one.
Probably not one of the best Freds.
No, but it's a good one.
I would say Freddie Freeman.
It's got to be up there.
Freddie Couples. Fred Bolitnikoff. And Fred McGriff. He's a Hall of Famer. There's my final four.
Top four.
Top final four there. The Crime Dog.
Just in Cooperstown.
Almost 500 bombs. 2,500 hits.
Crazy.
Almost 3,500. As close as you could get without being there.
Yeah.
And now he's in the Hall of Fame.
Good
you know what?
him.
The Crime Dog might be the best Fred of all time. We're not making Freds anymore is my point. Freddie Freeman. There's a soccer player named Fred, right? And his name is just Fred, right?
I have no idea.
I think he plays for Arsenal or something like that.
I'll take your word for it.
Just Fred.
No, I love.
If you like soccer, tell me who Fred plays for.
But that's a big, that's huge in soccer. Is like you just go by one name, like you don't have.
Yeah, but I don't think you actually do. I think that's just how it's more like colloquial in like other cultures,
really?
And then we are so stupid. We're just like, yes, it's just Pele.
Yeah. It
probably Cristiano Ronaldo is his name, but we just say Ronaldo.
No, but like I've seen some like playing FIFA and stuff. There will be like some people that just don't have a first name.
Ronaldo used to have Ronaldinho used to just have Ronaldinho.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Not top story of the day.
That was your top story. Is the top
Who's
Freds?
The best Fred?
Who's the best Fred? Okay. My not top story of the day is. Jay Morgan, we'll get some football tonight. High school football starting across the country and here locally. Should be a fun night for these local high schools. Last night we had a couple of games. I know Germantown, who I think the local papers called the best team in the region, or in the area, I should say. They were up 42-0 at the end of the first quarter last night. I forget who they played last night, but
Ken Netherland Field.
Huh?
Over at Ken Netherland Field.
That's right. And so,
he coached at my school.
Did he?
When I was in high school.
Really? I didn't know that.
St. George's Ken Netherland legend.
Interesting. But no, I mean...
we ran the bone.
Did y'all really?
We ran the wishbone with Ken Netherland.
Kind of late to be running the wishbone.
Ken Netherland runs the bone, man. That's what he runs.
That's true. That is true. But no, I mean, it should be a fun night. I know a lot of places starting to get prepared for tonight, and we should have some good matchups across the city.
That's also my not top story of the day, believe it or not. It's high school football tonight. It'll be really fun throughout the city. I'm going to watch Christian Brothers play tonight. But like Brian said, Germantown
White
played
Station,
last night.
Versus
Christian Brothers played White Station. There's some really good games around the city. Football's back. We talked to Glenn Rogers Jr. this morning on Wolo's show. He's an assistant coach over at MUS, so I know they're going tonight as well. So some really good games in the area. Find a school close to you. Go watch some high school football tonight. It'll get you ready for college football starting next week.
Week 0 next week. I'm excited. We'll have to gamble on all the games next week.
1 week before week 1 is week 0.
A week before. That's what this week is.
No, that's what this week is. Mm-hmm. Well, no, this is just a week before.
A week before week 1. Your mic wasn't on.
No, I know, yeah. Well, I just assumed. I've kind of been assuming for the last minute or so you were going to just be like, all right, well, let's go to break here.
Well, let's go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about the NFL.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we've brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. What people really love about Genesis is the transparency, the education. Genesis is revealing all the long-held secrets of the diamond industry. We'll teach you how to buy like a dealer buys, how to understand the ways diamonds are priced by the wholesalers, how slight variations in size and clarity can translate into thousands in savings passed along to you. At Genesis, our non-commissioned diamond experts are here to guide you every step of the way. Our diamond education will make you a better, more informed consumer. Even if you don't buy from us, we'll make you a more dangerous shopper when you visit other places. Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry. Now open at Poplar and Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with two of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Attention, everyone. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory. Let me say that again. Family Leisure is needing your help to clear out their inventory. And to do so, there are tons of great deals throughout the store. For example, all do-it-yourself pools are $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pools for less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Hey, if you need patio furniture, they have patio furniture that's now up to 30% off. Spas are in stock. They're up to $1,200 off. Now listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. 24 months, same as cash financing, is now available through this sale. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory, so come and do your part at Family Leisure. Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
It's usually a waste of time to give out a phone number for a business during a radio commercial because the people listening are probably in their car, and that's not a great time to write down a phone number. So it's easier to give you something you can remember, and that is belltavern.com. It's that simple. And belltavern.com doesn't just give you the hours for Bell Tavern, Memphis' best old-school bar. It also shows you the insane collection of signature drinks and mouth-watering pictures of the spectacular food at Bell Tavern. The next time you're done driving, check out belltavern.com and then get back in your car and go there.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. That's right, over 100 new Fords driven by the pros are being sold with demo pricing direct to the public. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up and drive like a pro while supporting a great cause. Visit LandersMemphis.com or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo-priced new Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship and lock in low APR financing. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
No Brett Norsworthy today. He's out for today, I guess, because today's Friday, and next week before he comes back when we're really in the middle of things with week 0 behind us, week 1 coming up, but some much-needed break for Brett Norsworthy this week. But Bryant and Jay Morgan with you today. And last night we had a little Thursday night football between the Browns and the Eagles. Yesterday I talked about Dorian Thompson-Robinson, how excited I was to see him again in action after, obviously, this was their third game after they played in the Hall of Fame game. So, got an extra preseason game, and then they played week 1 and now this game in week 2. And I thought he looked pretty good. He didn't look as electric as he had in his first 2 preseason games, but for the rookie, he's played 3 games in 14 days, and in those 3 games, he's completed 30 of 46 pass attempts for 348 yards, and has added 64 yards on 13 carries. So really impressive for the rookie that I don't think a lot of people expected a ton of in his first preseason action. It's looked like he's kind of taken over Kellen Mond's spot in that depth chart, and he could be on this roster as the third quarterback, and Kellen Mond could lose out on a spot. But
the fight for third quarterback.
Third quarterback. I
mean,
love
if
it.
that's not compelling to a sports fan, I don't know what is. Truly.
I
was thinking about this I was thinking about this. No, I'm just joking with you, honestly, because I was actually thinking about along these lines this morning about Dak Prescott. I remember when he was a rookie. Obviously, a lot of hype if you watch SEC football, but
sure.
I think in general, he was a third-round pick, so maybe not a ton of hype.
Well, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, that he led that Mississippi State team to high ranks.
Right. So a well-known third-round draft pick, and I remember when he got his chance in the preseason, he killed it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was dominating the preseason, and that's not meaningful football or anything, but because he was so good in college.
Yeah.
And preseason is not the way it was now at this point.
Sure.
We hadn't been conditioned that way. We saw Dak playing well. We were like, wow, that could be meaningful. And sure enough, when Tony Romo got hurt and Dak was thrown out there, he was excellent and has not lost the starting job since then to that point. That is not what we're watching in preseason anymore at all.
No.
Like, it's just not meaningful at all. You're talking about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Last year, I watched Skylar Thompson and Davis Webb be the 2 best performing quarterbacks in the preseason, and I'm thinking, watching it, and that's really why I haven't watched a lot of preseason a lot this year, is what I'm about to say. I'm watching these guys in depth last year, and I'm like, oh my God, that has to be meaningful. It might not mean these guys are going to start this year, but the fact that they can play this well as backups has to mean that they have some place, some standing in the NFL as a backup or could play at some point down the road.
Sure.
And we saw how bad Skylar Thompson was at the end of last season for the Dolphins. And Davis Webb has retired by the end of last season and is now coaching only. So, while I get what you're saying, I'm excited football is back too. You were by far the only person I heard before the game, Bryant, talking about DTR, and after the game talking about his performance.
Oh, that's not true. John talked about it earlier today. I heard him talk about it.
That's what I said. You were by far, you're far from the only person who talked about that.
I thought you said you are the only person. I
You're
thought you were
far from
calling
it.
me out for paying attention too much preseason.
You're far from the only person to talk specifically about Dorian Thompson-Robinson before that game and after it. And I think it's just not meaningful. Like, good, bad, ugly, it just doesn't matter anymore. They are making all of these decisions in private based on film in private. The Cowboys were making decisions on Dak based on the film that I just referenced that we all saw in the preseason game. Maybe there's other film in practice too, but that was huge.
Yeah.
There is nothing going on this field, at least in positions that we care about. Maybe they're fighting for second corner.
Sure.
Second outside. Maybe there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 positions. Not even 8. I'll say 5 positions that have legitimate battles at, if not 1, 2. But nowadays, we're just not privy to any significant position battle or any significant play that goes on, and they're not even weighing it significantly if you were to ask these franchises, I don't think.
Well, I agree with you.
It makes preseason sad.
No, I completely agree with you.
I'm looking forward to Josh Allen playing a quarter and a half for the Bills this weekend.
No, you're
I'm
right.
like, oh my God, that's so much time he's going to be playing.
Well,
but they would play a full half. The third game every year,
sometimes
at
they
least.
play a full game.
Exactly, at least. It would be a dress rehearsal game.
Yeah. Well, and I think kind of 2 points to your last one about seeing Josh Allen. I think it's especially a shame for these young guys, these high first-round picks that are going to be at the quarterback position, like Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson, who – in week 1, C.J. Stroud only got one drive. I mean, this is a guy that you've drafted highly. He's gonna be your starting quarterback, and you're not throwing him out there in preseason. So you're right. I mean, it's just meaningless. They're not everything that's happening because there's so much put into these joint practices with other teams during the week. That's when they're getting all their work in.
That's the difference to me.
Yes.
They added more joint practices throughout the course of a week. They used to just be one a year. It would just be one team you joint practice with. Now I think
it's every week.
You joint practice with all 3 teams you play.
The team you play on the weekend, you joint practice with them during the week. So
they get so many reps over the course of the week that are hyper analyze. No, hyper-analyze is not the right phrase I'm looking for. It's just like
but you're seeing more ones versus ones in these joint practices.
Well, and it's stripped down. They do live play, but like I've seen video and Hard Knocks of them stripping it down to like segmented, like we're just passing here.
100%.
So you know what I mean?
100%.
And I feel like those are reps that are significant in terms of evaluation. Obviously full game reps, and they do get those like you just said, but that's how many days of practice? 2-3 days of practice?
Yeah,
I probably think
2 or 3, yeah. It might be 2, yeah.
Maybe it's 3. I think it's just 2.
But even in those joint practices, I mean, you'll see a lot. It's Hard Knocks, and in some of the clips that come out on social media, it's a lot of, just your team working with your team, and then you'll kind of go into like really the kind of competition with the other team, but you're still kind of formatting it like a regular practice for most of the time you're there. So you're right. I mean, a lot of the work, and even I saw today Sam Howell is going to be the starting quarterback, and Ron Rivera cited that this week when they were having joint practices against the Ravens he told Sam Howell, like, prove it this week in the joint practices, and if you do enough this week, then you'll be our starting quarterback. And so he did enough during the joint practices, and they've already named him the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to be, if you're hearing what we're saying here, and you're like, well, then what do? I want information about my team before the season. I think you just have to find yourself a good beat writer for the team.
100%. Whoever your favorite team is.
Because there's a lot of beat writers for teams, but it has to be a good one that can take what he or she is seeing on the field
and decipher.
I say that a lot. I'm like, you have to read the beat writers because they're the only ones that get to see these guys in practice, but they don't get to see that much.
No, they see everything. In the NFL, they see a ton.
Yeah, but they don't see all the live reps like we're talking about, do they?
Do they not?
I don't believe so.
I know it's way more access than like college. College, you get like 5 minutes of them
They
stretching.
get the most access of everybody.
Yes.
With the media veils and stuff. But it's not all watching them at practice type of stuff.
Interesting.
But it's still more than the rest of us get.
Sure, yeah. And so, no,
you're find yourself
right.
a good one, and they'll tell you what's going on.
But with DTR, I do think it's somewhat significant just because...
Or just trusting the coaches when they talk in press conferences.
That's a good
Otherwise, you're SOL.
You are, because you're not getting anything out. You're right, you're not getting anything out of this. But I do think for DTR, it is somewhat significant just because this is a late-round pick that you didn't really know if he was going to make the roster. And really the difference between a guy kind of showing out his first rookie year and being able to make a team and a guy that doesn't really show out and gets cut because he's the fourth quarterback on the depth chart as a rookie. I mean, the trajectory of your career can differ dramatically just because of that by kind of making that spot on the roster. So I think this
So he's fighting for the third spot on the Browns, and you want to be on a roster at this time of year because that's your only chance of having a career in the NFL is to make a roster.
Absolutely.
But there's certainly no chance of him playing in Cleveland, right?
No.
Because they're paying that quarterback
I don't know.
amounts of money.
I mean, at some point, I would not be surprised if he could beat out Josh Dobbs.
But
Josh Dobbs is their backup.
But Josh Dobbs isn't playing either.
Yeah, but I mean, he becomes
and there's
backup.
there's absolutely no. Why do you think he could beat out Josh Dobbs? There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Josh Dobbs is a veteran quarterback.
I understand.
From team to team that the Titans, when they were needing an emergency quarterback information, that was the first guy they signed. So I
saw him up in Nashville when I was up there for the Kraken game.
So he has a standing in the league that is.
No, you're right.
That is not. I mean, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, we're talking about competing for a third spot to even make a roster. I mean, there's no way. I'm assuming you're talking about this year, because if you're talking about in the future, there's no guarantee either guy is going to be on the roster past this year, I don't think. And either way, there's no way either one of them is starting over Deshaun Watson because they're paying him so much money.
No, you're absolutely there's no chance either of them are starters. That's crazy.
So I don't mean to totally like just get all over Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but that's kind of going back to what I'm saying is these preseason games, while it's exciting to say there's football right around the corner and football on TV is better than no football on TV, these games are worse than they have ever been.
Right.
And I'm not even interested in turning them on. I've still yet to this point, Friday, August 18th, I haven't watched one of them. Not one. I just don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't interest me. I'm not seeing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing two people talk about a team that I am interested in because they play in the NFL.
Sure.
And then watching football on a field that is totally meaningless to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just pooped all over the NFL. It's
just the preseason.
It's really the only avenue the NFL gives you to desecrate on what they do.
It's true.
Because everything they do is so excellent.
Yeah.
That's the one area where I'm like, you've totally ruined this product.
Yeah.
And maybe it makes the future product better. I don't think so. Two guys were carted off the field last night, and we thought they were dead. Not really. Maybe not dead is a stretch, but we thought they were paralyzed. And they both had to give a thumbs up as they got off the field because they were carted off.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it's necessarily helping everybody get injured less. It might help. It might make injuries more prevalent at the beginning of the year.
Could.
Guys aren't out in form and stuff like that. I just think they've ruined the preseason. We got to find a way to fix this.
With the addition of all of these joint practices, I mean, maybe they're getting more reps.
Hitting, no.
Well, no, not hitting,
no.
But
that's what you need.
That's true.
I mean, I think. I've never played football. But, like, what a lot of the stuff I've been reading lately about basketball is that load management is contributing to a lot of the injuries that we're seeing in basketball. Especially soft tissue injuries and the like, and non-contact injuries, everything like that. So if it is contributing in that way, I would only imagine a sport that's way more physical than basketball, like football. It would also contribute to increased injuries because you're less. You're just not getting built up that resistance to. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what it would be, but it just seems like this is a step in the. It's with a step in the right and wrong direction because you can't mess around with head injuries, and they've got the Guardians now, which are important. Mm-hmm. But in terms of their injuries on the rest of the body, it might be a step in the wrong direction. Now, how do we weigh what's more important, head health or the rest of your body's health? How do you weigh that? I don't know.
It's tough. Yeah, I don't know.
You can recover from a broken leg at a young age.
You can't recover from.
You might have more damage down the line if you hurt your head. So, I don't know.
That is interesting.
This has been a really fun preseason football discussion. I've decided at the end of our discussion here, it's just been me railing about things I don't know.
It has.
About.
I will say there was a funny story from the game last night.
And it wasn't the two gentlemen getting carted off the field. Whether or not they were paralyzed remained unclear.
No, that was not the funny thing that happened in the game last night. So Cade York, you familiar with Cade York and his work?
He's a kicker, right?
He's a kicker. This is going to be his second year with Cleveland, and kind of a lot still unknown about him. In his rookie year, he only converted 75% of his field goal attempts, and that's including 70.3% from outside of 30 yards, I should say. Last night in the first half, which was a weird first half. There was a safety. It was very low scoring, yada, yada, yada. He makes 2 field goals to give the Browns an 8-3 lead going into the break. At halftime, he reposts a story from the Cleveland Browns onto his Instagram story saying, like, talking about his 2 field goals that he made in the first half to give them this lead, and he's so good, yada, yada, yada. So he reposts it on his Instagram story, goes out in the second half, has 2 more field goal attempts, misses both of them. If he had made either one of them, the Browns would have won the game, and instead they ended in a tie. So
what a sad day to tie a preseason game.
And they don't play overtime in preseason, I learned last night. So just ended it at 18-18.
We could have assumed that they didn't play overtime.
Go to the locker room. Yeah, that's true. We probably could have assumed it, but when you have over 36.5 and the final score is 18-18.
Who had over 36.5?
Bad beat.
Who had that?
Was me. That was
me. You did?
So not great, but it was a fun game last night. I thought on NFL Network. I believe 2 games tonight on NFL Network, and then the whole weekend. Bryce Young's going to be in action tonight for the Carolina Panthers, so we'll kind of get his second look at him with that Panthers offense. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what we learned yesterday with the release of the 2023-24 NBA schedules.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Are you ready to conquer the great outdoors? Come in today and gear up with the dependable Suzuki King Quad ATV, because there's no rest for the rugged. Its unparalleled combination of power, versatility, and reliability allow you to tackle the toughest terrains with ease. And right now, there are lots of ways to help you hit the trail, including low APR financing and low monthly payments for qualified buyers, discounts for the military and first responders, and more. Roll into Olive Branch Motorsports in Olive Branch, Mississippi, and experience the Suzuki King Quad ATV's unmatched capabilities today.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo, Saturday, August 26, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We'll be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Salary starting at $60,700. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
My friends at Miramichi are always innovative. They've got a new thing going I think you're going to like. They have a staggered rate pertaining to what time of day it is. You can get a better price if you go in the later afternoon than you will in the morning or in the afternoon. From noon to 3, there is a $10 savings. There's about a $13 savings from 3 until close. You can't beat all of the innovations or the beauty at Miramichi. And folks are flocking. No longer can you get a membership. There's a waiting list, but that's how popular Miramichi has become. And why wouldn't it? You've got different levels of competition. You have 5 different tee boxes you can choose from ultra hard to ultra fun. The thing that's a constant is the beauty. The back 9 is like taking a walk through the woods with a meandering stream, and there's a waterfall you'll love. Everything about Miramichi is cool. Go check it out in Woodstock, 12 minutes north of downtown. It's Miramichi.
1912, 1900, 1911, 1853, and now 1837. This is Shell Dunn Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors. I have just sold one of the oldest homes in Shelby County. No brag, just fact. I'm very proud of selling homes across the age spectrum, and I can sell yours, whether it was built in the 1800s, the 1900s, the 2000s, or if it's only 2 years old. I may have the worst golf game in town, and I rarely make a par, and forget about birdies, I do real estate. That's why my golf game is so bad. I spend most of my time taking care of my clients. I have a highly successful strategic marketing program and tell people to talk to 2 to 3 brokers, but make sure that I'm one of them. Remember, when you want the job done, call Shell Done. Call me now at 483-0546 or email me at memphisrelocate.com. That's right, relocate is my middle name. memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546. I'm waiting for your call or email.
Make this the summer sales event is still going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Get ready to ride in your new 2023 Dodge Charger SXT. We Gossett $29,990 or $425 a month. Got some hauling to do? We Gossett covered in 2023 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman 4x4 $39,990 or $579 a month. Or how about some employee pricing from Gossett on all Jeep Gladiators? 2023 Jeep Gladiator Sport 4-door 4x4 now just $669 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 3500 down, Charger PH 508-657, MSRP 35,930, Ram PN 671,333, MSRP 48,390, Jeep PL 561,602, MSRP 54,655. Must finance through Chrysler Capital, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month, dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Back in Sports Time. I was trying to stand. My watch told me to stand. It was time to...
I don't like listening to technology.
What?
I don't like listening to technology.
Yeah, but you know, with the Apple Watch, it like tells you to stand every hour and make sure you get your blood flowing and everything. Keeps up with how long you've stood. And...
I should get upset if I find myself standing when the Apple Watch does tell me to stand. That's when I get upset. I don't do what technology tells me to do. I'm my own person.
I wouldn't say I was doing what it told me to do.
It sounds like you were, Bryant.
I'm just trying to get, they kind of put you on like a goal thing, and so you feel good when you exercise a little bit.
When you play their game.
Is that their game?
Uh-huh.
Being healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, got my stand in for this hour.
Good.
So yesterday...
You have to do another one next hour then.
That's right. So at this time next hour, we'll be talking about my other stand. How many times have I stood today? Let's see.
You have to do 12 a day, right?
That's right. I've only stood 3 hours today. That can't be right.
No, not 3 hours total. It's 3 of the 12 hours you're supposed to.
No, I understand that.
So you haven't gotten to some of them yet.
But that can't be right. I've stood every hour.
I don't believe you.
Sure I have. I've gotten up and walked around, gone to the bathroom, and got some coffee.
Not when it told you to, though. And that's the game it plays, Bryant. You don't get to now. You've lost free will because of that machine.
I'm done listening to technology.
Exactly.
It's lying to me.
Bingo.
So yesterday, the NBA released their schedule. We talked a lot about the Grizzlies' schedule, but I did think there were some interesting notes kind of on the national level for the schedule rollout. On average, you talked about kind of the load management. You mentioned that in the last segment when we were talking about the NFL. It's becoming a huge thing in the NBA, and it looks like on average teams are going to play an all-time low back-to-back games. Last year it was an average of 9.6 back-to-back games. This year it's just 9 average around the league.
It's such a big misconception to think that's why they're sitting out games.
No. I'm not saying that's what it is.
No, but that's what people do think.
And that's why I think that this is a thing, because I think that they're thinking if we do less back-to-back games, it will eliminate that. I don't think that will work.
No,
but
that's not why people are sitting out games.
Right.
That's what fans think they're doing too, and it's just not accurate. It doesn't matter when they play the games back-to-back, non-back-to-back. They have found a loophole in the schedule.
Yep.
We don't need to win all of these games against Team X, Team Y, Team Z. We already won this many against this team. We know we only have to win this many.
Yep.
We can sit guys tonight. we can afford to sit people tonight.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with when they play the games. It is all scheduling. Or they are gambling on, we can give this one away, we can win 2 of 3 if we play 4 times.
Right.
Whatever the case might be, they are playing games with the schedule, with the way that they put guys out on the floor. And it's different with different teams. So it's not like you fix one thing in the schedule and now every team is fixed. They're playing games with it. Teams are finding marginal ways that they can create advantages versus other teams, or at least they're experimenting with ways they think that they can get small advantages against other teams, and schedule is one way that happens. I know it stinks. I know back in your day, Grandpa, they all used to play every game. Sorry, they got smarter and found out they don't have to do that anymore. And it's not because of their bodies being healthier, even though that's what they'll have you believing from a player perspective, that is what they're doing, but from a GM and a coach perspective, it's about segmenting the season as many ways as you can. I don't have to win this game. I do need to win this game, and that's what works for them.
Yeah. And so like you just said, I don't think limiting the amount of back-to-back games is gonna result in no more load management and guys are going to play every game or not take as many nights off. I think it's going to still happen. But I did think it was interesting that I've seen a lot of people point that out as a good thing, kind of like you were saying, is that was kind of a big thing when I was looking at a lot of people reacting to the schedules is, oh, look, there's not going to be as many back-to-back games, which means players aren't going to have a reason to sit out for games, and this is going to be great for the sport. So I thought that was interesting when I saw that.
Sports radio topic all over America today.
It really is.
No, probably not, because no one wants to talk about it. Anybody that would want to make that take ain't talking about basketball in August.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. Probably right. Team USA did win again.
Or if they do, they're talking about college basketball.
Probably right.
Oh, this street ball in the NBA.
Is that what it is?
Learn to play the game.
Not playing the game the right way.
It looks like basketball, but what they're doing in the NBA is just not basketball. Now, the college boys, they still play the game the right way.
How does that make much sense? I don't know. Let's wrap up this hour, get to a break. When we come back to start hour number 2, Bruce Marshall will join us. We gotta do some wagering with him. That's next.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Whatever vehicle needs you may be wishing for, we've got you covered at Gossett Mitsubishi. 41 MPG Highway that can turn on a dime, that's 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. $17,395 or $249 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross combines luxurious styling with cutting-edge technology, generous cargo room, and versatility. $29,100 or $399 a month. And the powerful and fun-to-drive 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander. $29,580 or $499 a month. And you'll always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got
500 military rebate. G4 PH 06839. MSRP 17895. Cross RZ 00688. MSRP 29850. Outlander PZO 59809. MSRP 30080. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
WeatherGuard, the name that stands for unmatched security in truck boxes, is now making a name for itself on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. WeatherGuard is the official sponsor of the safety and security work crews at Speedway Motorsports tracks across the country. Engineered to meet the demands from job sites to race sites, WeatherGuard truck boxes feature double welded seams, weather-tight seals, and high security latches and locks. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Learn more at weatherguard.com/truck.
Attention, everyone. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory. Let me say that again. Family Leisure is needing your help to clear out their inventory. And to do so, there are tons of great deals throughout the store. For example, all do-it-yourself pools are $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pools for less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Hey, if you need patio furniture, they have patio furniture that's now up to 30% off. Spas are in stock. They're up to $1,200 off. Now listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. 24 months, same as cash financing, is now available through this sale. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory, so come and do your part at Family Leisure. Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus and Jay Morgan Harder with you on this Friday afternoon. And joining us now to talk some college football and wagering, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports joins us now. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. And I know this has been a topic we've talked to you about the past couple of weeks, but it seems like every day you're hearing new rumors and new updates about what could happen with these four remaining schools from the Pac-12 conference. When you kind of look at this bunch, like I said, a ton of rumors of what could happen. But what do you think is the most likely outcome for these four schools?
I still think it's what makes this hard, Brian, is that we keep hearing a lot of different rumors and some don't seem to fit with the previous rumor. The latest one was that Stanford would be willing to move to the ACC for a much reduced part of the share of the media package. But I think the most likely thing is that they'll sort of reassemble the Pac-12 with a handful of other schools from the Mountain West and the American. Although there may be a period of limbo here in the next year because the exit fees out of the Mountain West for it drops in half after a year, and right now some of these target schools, the San Diego States and those, wouldn't probably like to pay a $35 million exit fee. They may be able to swallow half of that, which is what it would be next year. But I think them, and then where they would find the other schools, 3 or 4 from the Mountain West and a few from the American. I don't know that Memphis is in that group, but that's what I think is probably going to happen, but your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. Bruce, I wanted to ask you, too, you mentioned there how there is a lot of rumors going around with these schools potentially joining seemingly every conference in America that isn't the Pac-12. Why do you think the rumors are so prevalent? Is it just because there's so many people involved with universities in some capacity that's source material for a lot of different reporters? Why are there so many rumors coming out about these schools?
Yeah, good question. Well, I think just because there's no clear-cut answer, and I mean, and you think there has to be a next step. I mean, this stuff, the way it unraveled, and you would think Stanford and Cal in particular would have somewhere to land. But because there's no real clear answer to what they would do, and the ACC thing was kind of, I think if the ACC does, and apparently that's not a far-fetched scenario that the ACC would end up inviting Stanford and Cal in. Then I think things would be a lot more straightforward, and then you'd probably see Oregon State and Washington State absorbed into the Mountain West, I would think. But, short of that, everything else, nothing else seems, there's no clear-cut answer to anything. So I think that's one of the reasons you've got, or a main reason, there's so many different rumors going on out there. There's just no clear-cut thing. It seems like this is the favored thing to happen. Early on, a few weeks ago, I mean, it looked like the winds of change were blowing a certain way, and those schools were going to the Big 12. And then once the Oregon and Washington thing happened in the Big 10, it all really collapsed in the Pac-12. But it's just since then, no clear-cut answer, and that's why there's so many rumors, I think.
So if the Pac stayed together, these four teams stayed together and kind of decided, hey, we're going to add, like you said, kind of four teams from the Mountain West, four teams or so from the American, and kind of reform some sort of Pac conference. What type of media rights deal do you think a conference like that, where it's not the Pac-12 or Pac anything that we remember, and it's kind of a lot of these group of five schools kind of making up that conference, well, what kind of media rights deal do you think that would be able to generate?
Yeah, it'd be less than even what they supposedly had on the hook there with Apple before that thing fell apart with the Pac-12, and that was roughly in the $20 million per school range. But that was with Oregon and Washington in there. That was with the the schools left for the Big 12. So it'd be considerably less than that. But there's still the Pac-12 brand is still something there,
sure.
And if they had a league where you brought in San Diego State, Boise, Air Force, Tulane, Rice, and you're plucking off some pretty big media markets there, maybe SMU, then they could probably put something together. But I'm not sure there's an easy way for that to happen either, because there'd have to be some other dominoes falling here, and I'm not sure that's going to happen either. But that is one scenario. It would be less than what that Apple deal was, but it would probably be involving Apple again, and something above like what the Mountain West schools are getting now, but less than what the Apple deal was for the Pac a few weeks ago.
Interesting. I think you brought up something when you were kind of talking about some of those schools that they could look to add the Pac, because I've seen a lot of people here locally in Memphis talk about the idea of maybe Memphis being able to get into some sort of conference like this if the Pac goes this direction. And when you see some of these rumors of some of the names of schools that the Pac could go after, Rice has been a name in there. I've seen a lot of Memphis fans almost take offense to Rice being over the University of Memphis. What are some of the reasons, in your opinion, that Rice would be looked at more favorably than Memphis? Is it? I know the academics are really, really good at Rice. Also, you mentioned kind of that market, but what would be some of those reasons?
Well, mostly the latter, just because it's in Houston. If Rice is in Lubbock, they wouldn't be talking about Rice. But that's it. But the TV question is really, and in Colorado State, well, they say Denver. I don't know. The TV executives, though, are not fools. I mean, Denver means the Broncos. It doesn't mean Colorado State. But in some way, there's some connection there, and I think where the bigger TV markets are at. Memphis, I still think a more likely thing, if this stuff happens with the ACC and they end up, if some schools peel off, I think that's a better landing spot eventually for Memphis than an alliance with the Pac schools. Also, if Stanford is involved in Cal, I'm still not sure, they're going to agree, to put something together with Boise State and San Diego State, and schools like that, just because of the arrogance and the hubris of Stanford and Cal. So there's a lot of different fits. But the one thing we did hear is that they'd be just going after bigger TV markets, and that's why. See, I'm not sure New Orleans is any bigger than Memphis either, so that would be, why Tulane would be in there and not Memphis, I'm not sure. But that was the thought with Rice for sure and why they'd be mentioned.
Interesting.
I tell you what, if there's any barren TV market left from this Pac-12 league, and one of these other leagues will find some way to scoop it up as fast as they possibly can. Bruce, I was told that you have some SEC win totals that you've just finished up now, and I have really been itching all week. I've been placing futures bets on win totals. What's the SEC team you're most confident in their win total? And do you have like a middle of the pack team that you have being a lot better than people maybe anticipate them being?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few in here. I think Texas A&M, we're seeing like 7.5 for Texas A&M. Wow. I don't think the Aggies are going to get there.
Wow.
And I don't think so. And I think the pivot point then will be that week 2 game. They've got to go to Miami, and that was a game the Aggies won last year. But if they lose in Miami in the rematch, I mean, it's going to be very, very tough for them, because I see several SEC losses here, and this whole thing with the Petrino addition to Jimbo's staff is really fraught with peril, I think. I mean, that looks like a combustible situation, especially since, Jimbo down in Nashville last month, back in Nashville, he didn't really say that Petrino's coming in to call the plays. That might be news to Petrino. So I kind of think A&M, might be under. Those teams at the top, I just don't know that Georgia's going to lose. And I would almost go over as high as their win total is. I might go over, even if they're at 11, I might go. I think I just see them probably running the table again. The schedule breaks so nicely for them. And this is in the regular season. Now they'll run into Sunday in the SEC title game. The game at Tennessee, which is late in November, at Tennessee side, they have handled pretty easily the last 2 years. That looks like the toughest challenge to me. And I think, Georgia probably clears that. I think Missouri and Mississippi State might be kind of silent over sorts of teams, maybe not right at the top of the pack. I like a lot what Eli Drinkwitz has done at Mizzou. They just gave him a contract extension. Now he has landed right on 500 each of the first 3 years in the regular season, and then he has lost bowl games the last 2, and they canceled the bowl game the first year. So he'd have to get over 500. He'd have to get to 7 to clear 6.5. I think he can. I like their bringing in the offensive coordinator from Fresno, Kirby Moore. I like that Brady Cook comes in here this year apparently with his shoulder in much better shape than it was last year. I look for him to put up bigger numbers. That was a good defense that Missouri had last year. And I think the schedule shapes up good. If they'll have a game with Kansas State, they're going to have to win early, so I might like Mizzou over. And I think Mississippi State's going to be better than people think, too. I don't know that Zach Arnett is going to be that. I know the situation there was very difficult with Coach Leach last year and all, but he was putting himself on the radar for head coaching openings. And Arnett, his defenses have been very good there the last couple of years. They're not going to be running an air raid there. They'll still be putting the ball in the air a lot with Will Rogers, so he may not have to risk Tommy John surgery. I like the portal pickup of Mike Wright from Vanderbilt, and I asked Arnett about that in Nashville, and he said there were not many quarterbacks floating around the portal who have had wins in the SEC under their belt like Wright did. But his threat there mainly is a dual threat, is a great runner, and a guy who really won a couple of SEC games for Vanderbilt by himself last year. I'm surprised Vandy let him go like that and didn't fight to keep him around. I mean, they won 5 games last year, 4 of them last year directly because of him, Hawaii, Elon, and the Kentucky and Florida games. They'll use him in a variety of capacities, and I think that will make this offense actually have a sharper edge and have a Leach, as crazy as that sounds, but he'll use Wright pretty well. So those are some ones I'm looking at.
I'm so glad you brought up Mike Wright, too, because Bryant and I have been talking about it kind of all. I mean, that's just so peculiar. Like you just said, he was the starter at Vanderbilt. He has more years of eligibility. Mississippi State has the longest tenured quarterback in the league, and he decides to go be the backup there. How do you weigh that? Clearly you know about it. You just talked about it as it being meaningful. Do you weigh that at all when you're doing this handicap, when you're looking at win totals? Does that give you a little more confidence to say the quarterback is a really important position, and they've got two of them if one of them goes down? Does that give you confidence when you're looking to do win totals for Mississippi State?
Oh, sure, yeah, and also the fact they're going to use him in different ways. I mean, they're going to use him out of the slot a lot. I mean, he is not just going to be a backup quarterback for them. He'll be a change of pace quarterback, so they will use him in games at quarterback, but they will use him a lot out of the slot. They'll put him in the backfield. They'll put him in motion. They could split him out wide. He is a dangerous threat, and there's a lot of people who think in the NFL he may have had more of a future as a receiver or a slash sort of player anyway. So it just he adds such a dimension, and the fact, I mean, almost single-handedly at Vandy last year, he won some games for them. So you can use him in different roles. You don't have to use him at quarterback there. And Arnett sort of said that. He said, you know what? He said, we're going to use him a lot of different ways this year, so I can't wait to see how they deploy him in Starkville.
That's interesting. That really is. One question, or one team, I guess I should say, that I'm curious about going into the season is Florida. They named Graham Mertz their starting quarterback last week after kind of at the spring game, you got to see kind of both these quarterbacks, and they said after the game, Billy Napier said after the game that he really wasn't impressed with either of them, and they were still kind of in the market for a quarterback, but Graham Mertz is named the starter. I think I saw their win total set at about 5.5. Where do you kind of sit on Florida this year?
I am not bullish on Florida. I thought they might actually land under. I mean, 5.5. Wow. I think they got to 500 last year, and then they lost the bowl game when all those guys opted out, like Richardson. But I know, I mean, Mertz did not impress in the spring. Didn't look that great in the spring game. He didn't impress me at Wisconsin much. I mean, his career numbers are not that great. I think he's got 29 TD passes and 21 picks in his career. That's not great stuff. Sort of an average quarterback in the Big Ten, and not the dimensions that Anthony Richardson brought them. And I thought Richardson blew hot and cold a lot last year too. I think it's going to take Billy Napier some time. And from what if you look at all the the all SEC preseason teams and all that, there's hardly any Florida guys mentioned. This is more of a reflection, I think, the last couple of years of the Dan Mullen regime. I mean, the recruiting just dropped off. Yeah. He did not like to work. He didn't go out there and recruit like he should have. And this is unfortunate for Napier. He's got to build this thing back up. And the talent gap between Florida and, say, Georgia, Bama, LSU is as wide as it's been in a long while. And it's not going to be fixed overnight. They were not that good last year, and that's with a quarterback who was picked in the top 5 in the NFL draft. They're going to step back to quarterback. I think they're going to land under 500, so they would be an under for me, though. That wouldn't be my top tier pick for me, right. But I think they're going to have trouble getting to a bowl.
Wow. That'd be really interesting. Talking to Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider in CBS Sports. I want to switch gears a little bit and go to Major League Baseball because I think there's some interesting series going on this weekend. One that I'm really excited about. I know we've talked from time to time about the Seattle Mariners, but they seem to be kind of rounding into some sort of form here late, and it got a weekend series in Houston against the Astros. This is one of the most I'm excited about this weekend on the slate. How do you think this goes for the Mariners this weekend in Houston?
Yeah, this will be important, and they did straighten themselves out against the Royals after losing that first game. By the way, the Royals won today in Chicago, so they're playing a little bit better against the Cubs. But this is an important game tonight with Bryce Miller's up against J.P. France, who has really been on a heater right now. In France's last 8 starts, the Astros have won every game, and his ERA is about 2 since last month. So this is a challenge for the Mariners. I don't think they're going to get rolled by Houston this weekend. I think they've got enough offense here, and they've been scoring some runs, but they're going to need Bryce Miller to step it up here tonight, and he's had a couple of better outings in a row. But before that, he did struggle those games against the Red Sox and the Twins. So I am looking at that. It is a crucial series this weekend, but it's the American League playoff race does not offer much. If you go cold for a bit, you're going to be in trouble. So we're already getting into the later part of August now, and the Mariners still have some ground to make up. I mean, they're close with the Blue Jays right behind them there, but they could fall back if they don't take care of business in Houston. So I think they'd want to win at least 2 or 3 this week, and it keeps them there. I mean, they're almost even with the Blue Jays, but you don't want to lose a chance to you don't want to fall behind, and that's what they risk against this hot Houston team now.
Yeah. What about the National League in the Central, Bruce? 2 teams vying for wild card position with the Cubs and the Reds right behind the Brewers in first place. Which of those 3 teams do you like the best? Or maybe if I take the Brewers out of it, which of those 2 between the Cubs and the Reds do you think have the best chance to make the playoffs?
I think the Cubs do. There's one interesting number about the Cubs. There are only 2 teams in the National League that have a better run differential than the Cubs. I mean, they're plus 62. Only the Braves and Dodgers have a better run differential. They are the only plus run differential in the Central. So I mean, their record should probably be better than it is, but they blew that game today. But I still think the way they've played across the past month, Cody Bellinger's in a nice contract drive here, and it looks like he'll be rewarded after the season, and they kept these guys around at the deadline. I actually think they're the team that's probably going to win the division.
Wow.
The Milwaukee just is not stepping up here, and they just got swept by the Dodgers. They hit the Dodgers at the wrong time, but I don't think Milwaukee did enough at the deadline like last year. They just kind of stood pat there, and they've missed a chance to put some distance between themselves and the Cubs and the Reds. The Reds have kind of I wouldn't say folded, but they've kind of stalled here the last few weeks or since the All-Star break. And I'm not sure that, a lot of young players, a lot of rookies there, that offense hasn't been scoring as many runs as it did when they really got hot. Mm-hmm. So I actually think the Cubs can win this division, but it's kind of up for grabs.
Yeah. Bruce, what have you made of the Yankees this year? I've seen a lot of stats come out. They're 60-61 right now. I think I saw a stat the other day that said this is the latest in the season they've been 500 or worse since like 1995. That pitching staff just hasn't looked good all year. But what have you made of, just this powerful franchise just being so disappointing this year?
Yeah, it has been. They haven't gotten the pitching. They've had some guys, they had some injury issues, but, in general, the pitching has been very faulty, and even Garrett Cole has been quite as dominant as they would have hoped, but, he's been good enough. It's not his fault, but having Judge out for a long time seemed to hurt. That should not have derailed things the way it is.
Right.
I would have thought, the Yankees would have been able to withstand this a little bit better, especially since the schedule has been altered some this year. And you're not playing they're not playing as many games within the East, which is the toughest division in the American League for sure, if not all of MLB. And they take advantage of that a little better against some of the other teams, but they haven't been able to do it. So it's just been sort of a system-wide breakout. I don't know that it's Aaron Boone's fault. I think he's probably going to pay for it with his job at the end of the season. But the whole operation there, I think some of the pipeline is sort of dried up a bit, and some of these their forays into free agency haven't worked out quite like they expected, but they are destined, I think, to finish last in this division, and they're not going to stand pat. There's going to be some changes, and I think Boone, unfortunately, might pay for it first of all before they make some other changes.
Bruce, one more question for you about baseball. This time of year is always interesting to me because you get to see a lot of the young guys on, especially teams like the Cardinals that are far from out of it, or way out of it at this point, are starting to bring up some guys that this will keep their eligibility as a rookie if they are to play in the future, but you get them a few at-bats or just a few reps up in the major leagues. Mason Wynn getting called up for the Cardinals. Is that something that you look at all when you're handicapping? Have you noticed a trend or anything and teams responding well to young guys getting called up? Or is it just kind of one of those things that's a neat story, it pops, but in terms of outcomes on the field, it doesn't really seem to affect too much?
Yeah, it's a team-by-team thing. I know they like Mason Wynn a lot, and you guys got to see him this year, and he's going to come up. Nolan Shaniel for the Angels coming up today, too, so he's the guy they just drafted. I mean, he's had about 40 games in the minors from Florida Atlantic, and he's coming up. So it's sort of a team-by-team thing, and you usually didn't see these guys called up a call-up like that, especially a position player. Usually, and there's sort of a reason why, you don't see many guys call it that quick to make that sort of an impact. I mean, occasionally they do. Usually guys who make impacts like that right away, or some guys who might come up from Cuba or the Caribbean, Yasiel Puig, like a decade ago, all of a sudden there he was, and he was doing some things, and a few others. Pitchers coming up can sometimes make a little bit more of an impact right away. So it's usually if they're coming up in the St. Louis and the Angel situation, these are seasons that have kind of jumped the rails. So I'm not sure how much help those guys are going to do, but it'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see how Wynn plays with the Cardinals, and now Shaniel plays for the Angels too. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Bruce, week 2 of the preseason in the NFL. I know you had some picks last week in week 1. Do you like anything for this weekend slate?
Yeah, there's a few. Sort of like the Browns last night, so that worked out okay. Yeah. Tomorrow, a few. Very interesting game, Pittsburgh and Buffalo in Pittsburgh. The line has moved towards Buffalo because Sean McDermott has actually come out and said he's going to probably play his starters a quarter and a half. But I think that's a faulty reason for a move. Mike Tomlin's also said he's going to use his starters. He just hasn't given an actual specific time like McDermott did. But you're going to see Kenny Pickett for sure. Mm-hmm. And I like the backup quarterback things there for Pittsburgh too. Mason Rudolph is making a real move to usurp Mitch Trubisky as the backup. Rudolph has been a very good preseason quarterback. As long as they don't play Tanner Morgan, the rookie from Mississippi, and I don't think they will after last week, but we'll see. I think they probably win this game. Tomlin, by the way, coaches these games to win. He is 16-4 against the spread, also his last 20 in the preseason. So maybe Pittsburgh, and maybe an over there, 40-40.5. I mentioned that quarterback rotation I like for Pittsburgh as long as Morgan doesn't play. And Buffalo, you'll get Josh Allen into the second quarter, and most importantly in the second half for them, Matt Barkley, who's a really good preseason quarterback for Buffalo. This will help push this game over the total, but I still like the Tomlin angle with Pittsburgh. And two others. Sunday, the Saints and the Chargers. I'm going to look for that one to go over. Although, watch the weather in, believe it or not, in Southern California this weekend. They got a tropical storm coming through here. It may be raining pretty hard in Inglewood. And the way that stadium is built, they kind of cover the grandstand, but not the field, the way that one's built. But even if Herbert doesn't play, Easton Stick looks pretty good as a preseason quarterback. I don't mind these preseason quarterbacks who can get out and move like him. And Max Duggan looked better last week as that game went on. And the Saints, Derek Carr, a little bit last week, looked good. Jameis Winston looks good in extended time. You'll see a little bit more of Jay Kaner, rookie from Fresno. I think that one's probably going over. Ravens on Monday night. They did beat Philadelphia. They didn't cover. A late pick 6 got the Eagles inside the spread. But the Battle of the Beltway against Washington, a short price, 24 straight preseason wins outright for John Harbaugh. And although he has dropped his last 2 against the spread, he is still 20-4 against the spread in those. So that's enough for me to keep riding the Ravens, even if Lamar Jackson does not play.
Unbelievable stat for the Ravens. It's been incredible to watch them in these preseason games. But Bruce, before we let you go, tell us where we can find more of you and your picks.
Yeah, thanks. Check us out online at VegasInsider.com. I got all my picks up there. Some preseason this weekend, some baseball for tonight. Starting next week, I guess we'll have a couple week 0 college footballs too. So that's up for me at VegasInsider.com. Those previews that we mentioned up there at CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com. And within 2 weeks here, that new website I promised, BAMSports.net. That's .net. With all my Bruce stuff will be up in a couple weeks, but easy to find me online as we head into September.
Bruce, thanks for joining us. We'll do it again next week when we're previewing Week 0 games.
Thanks, Bruce.
Oh, Okay, guys, have a good weekend.
Or you too, Bruce. Thanks, Bruce. Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports with some good Week 2 preseason NFL plays for you right there at the end. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about baseball and some of these series coming up this weekend.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM. And 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Temperatures are on the rise. Make sure you beat the heat this summer by scheduling your $69 air conditioning tune-up now with Conway Services. An annual AC tune-up can save you money and help prevent costly breakdowns during the hottest months of the year. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Is your roof leaking? Do you have water damage on your ceiling of your home or business? Do you need assistance gathering much-needed data and images from your storm-damaged roof for an insurance claim? Call Metro Builders, roof and restoration specialists, and schedule your free inspection. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out and evaluate any concerns you may have. Metro Builders Roof and Restoration. We accept all insurance carrier scopes. Call Metro Builders now. Each and every day, we provide clients many different types of data and estimates for their insurance carrier. These include estimate and photo reports of all damage, from the roof to water damage on rafters and ceilings and even studs and plates inside walls. Check out the local BBB for our 27-year history in construction in Memphis, or check us out online today at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's metrobuildersmemphis.com for your local residential and commercial roofing and restoration experts. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time, and got some day baseball today. The Cubs in their traditional
Brian Dayball.
That's right. The one coach that Gronk says he would come out of retirement for.
Wow.
But we did have some day ball today. The Cubs in their traditional Friday afternoon home game.
Uniforms, man.
Oh, the Wrigleyville jerseys.
I think we've done that show before.
I think so too, but I like some of the City Connect jerseys.
I like
That
the
one
jersey.
I don't. I do not like the Wrigleyville jerseys at all.
That don't bother me.
I'm not a huge fan.
I don't dislike the jersey, but not on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that's when you need to wear your
you wear your Cubs pinstripe uniform.
Jersey, the white pins.
Wear that crap on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't care to see
like
a pinstripe
Tuesday
on a
night.
Sunday.
I don't even want it on a weekend series. Give it like a weekday
Wednesday
series. Yes.
Wrigleyville on a Wednesday.
Wrigleyville Wednesday.
That's how you sell a Wednesday game right there. You don't need any help selling weekend games. You need help selling
Especially
Wednesday
a Friday
games.
afternoon game that you know every single time you play it is going to be on MLB Network. There's going to be plenty of fans there. Don't need help selling that one. The Wednesday night game, on the other hand, you might need a little help. But the Royals, they come in and play spoiler, 4-3 victory over the Cubs. Cubs tried to get some things going late, but just couldn't get anything in the 8th or 9th inning and fall in the first game against the Royals. And this week has not been kind to the Cubs. I mean, you play.
Well, don't say that though, Bryant. They've won 20-something games since the All-Star break. So losing to the White Sox and losing Game 1 to the Kansas City Royals
is not a bad thing.
That doesn't mean they're bad.
No, it's
because I found a sample that makes them look good. But hang on a second. It looks like I've got a 4-game sample here where they look like a pile of crap. Right?
I mean, they haven't.
And that also goes back to what
week.
Bruce was saying. And Bruce is absolutely right. They do have their only team in Central with a positive run differential.
Yes.
But you go back to 2 or 3 weeks ago, they scored like 8 games in a row where they scored 20 runs in the game. And what's their run differential? Do you have the standings in front of you?
Yeah, I actually do. Plus 62.
Okay, so they score like 8 games in a row. They score 20 runs. That's like 160 runs, and their run differential is plus 60?
Yeah.
I'm not that impressed.
No.
Because what's it actually? Take away... What's an average run total to win a game by?
An average.
What's an average run total to win a game by? Probably what, 2, 3 runs?
I mean,
it's probably 1.5.
I was about to say you don't ever see a run line that's more or less than 1.5. So
it's probably 1.5. So we'll say a large margin of victory.
They split the White Sox. That was a 2-game series.
A 4-game series.
No, it was a 2-game series. I'm looking at it right here. It's a 2-game series.
Well, F me.
Well, that doesn't make much sense, does it?
I swear I thought they lost the first game of that series.
I thought they did lose the first game of that series, and then they won the second one. They split it.
Do you have their schedule in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
What did they do before the White Sox?
They lost their final game to Toronto. They won the 2 games before that. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games.
Maybe I'm counting that last. I think I was counting the last.
The Toronto game.
Yeah, because the first day I handicapped it, I said lost 2 in a row,
and it was
right.
an 11-4 loss to Toronto. But this week, I mean, they're 1-3. They're 1-3 this week, including 2 losses against the White Sox. So it has not been a great week for the Cubs, and this is not the way they wanted to start this series against the Royals. And now kind of looking at the wild card and where they sit in the wild card, they're half game out from Miami and Cincinnati are tied for that last wild card spot. So
generally you're trying to win all the games,
especially when you're
outside
of that,
right on the border of the playoffs.
Yeah, you trying to win more games,
as many as you can.
Especially against
so that you make the playoffs.
Especially against the bottom feeders, you want to take advantage of those games so that you can kind of make up for when you play some of the better
over my head, Brian.
Better teams.
Yeah,
but I mean, I could be wrong.
Maybe
that's not how it goes. I don't know.
Understand what you're talking about. It's over my head.
I'm just we're just trying to do the best we can.
Trying.
Right now we got another game in action, part of a double header because last night's game got rained out in Cleveland between the Guardians and the Tigers. Tigers up 3-1 right now as they're in the top of the 6th inning. Our guy Baddoo hit a home run earlier in that game to give them a lead earlier in the game, 3 runs in the first inning. Wow, actually all runs. It's a 3-1 game. All 4 runs were scored in the first inning. Hope you had a Yurfee in that game because a lot of stuff happened early in that one.
I didn't have a Yurfee.
Didn't have a Yurfee, and that's too bad. But no,
you didn't tell me to get it in early enough, Bryant. I tried to wait all day long. I
Took a page out of my book.
And I was too late.
How about that? But I mentioned this with Bruce, and this is not me just saying this as a guy that likes watching the Seattle Mariners play. But this series this weekend between the Mariners and the Astros could be a really fun series to watch if you're just a baseball fan. These are 2 division rivals. The Astros still battling to win that division while the Mariners are battling to get in that final wild card spot. And the Mariners, I mean, say what you want about their kind of late game seem to be falling apart at times.
Yeah, I don't have any trust in that.
I don't either, but they've been finding ways to win games. And then the Astros are a really good team.
What games come to mind when you say they've been finding ways to win games? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like, give me a game you're thinking of.
Well, there was at least one game. I can't remember what they did in that weekend series against Baltimore, but there was at least one game in that weekend series against Baltimore that went to extra innings that they found a way to win. A couple games against the Royals that they found a way to win.
That's kind of what I was expecting you to say. Is that I was expecting to hear teams like the Royals when you said that. Quite honestly,
but I mean they seem to get up against the Astros. The Astros are a very good team that really seem to be hitting their stride right now.
I mean that does happen a lot as teams get up for divisional games and look terrible against other teams. I've seen it happen plenty of times. So it could be
absolutely. So I think that's going to be a really fun one to watch. And then you mentioned with Bruce that Mason Wynn's going to make his Cardinals debut tonight as they take on the Mets in their second game of this series after losing last night. I mean, that was
I'm actually more interested in the kid that I still can't remember his name for the Angels.
I don't
know. Don't ask me. David something.
Schultz.
Bruce said his name too, and
he
I
did.
Remember
Bruce said his name. I told you
Stroganoff
about him.
Is his name, right?
It's not. I told you about him earlier in the day. I think we were talking about it with John, and now I can't remember his name. But yeah, guy got drafted.
Beef Stroganoff, I think is his name.
Shanuel.
Oh.
Nolan Shanuel.
Nolan Shanuel.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more interested in seeing him play tonight, just because I've seen Mason Wynn play at this point, and I just don't really want to watch the Cardinals again tonight. I mean, that game was so bad yesterday.
I think I saw that this Nolan Shanuel kid who just got drafted.
Stroganoff?
Not Daniel. Nolan Shanuel. He's going to lead off tonight for the Angels. So,
wow. But that makes sense, too. They don't have a true leadoff guy. They've been struggling to find one. We're leading off.
But it's first baseman. I mean, you don't really think about first baseman.
What's our friend's name from Campbell?
Neto. Zach Neto.
Zach Neto.
I love Zach Neto.
He was leading off a lot of the year. He also bats ninth, so they're really looking for a true leadoff man.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You're right, though. It is peculiar to see one come from first base. But they don't have a first baseman either. Do we know anything about this guy? His first base might not be his primary position. It might be outfield.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they don't have a first baseman.
Well, on his MILB, it says first baseman.
Okay,
so
then maybe it is first
baseman. I'm guessing that he is a traditional first baseman.
Yeah, because they've really been struggling all year. They were playing. Who was that last week?
He's
they were playing
6'4", 220. He's a first baseman.
Who were they playing at first base last week that's never played for? Was it Hunter Renfroe? No, it couldn't have been.
They have put Hunter Renfroe.
Maybe it was Hunter Renfroe at first base,
yeah,
and he just couldn't scoop anything. Somebody just couldn't scoop anything. I was watching the game the other day, and that person has played first base multiple times now. There might be an injury somewhere.
Maybe
I know. Was Rendon playing? No, Rendon wouldn't have been playing some first base before he got hurt. Why is there a hole at first base? I can't remember who would have gotten hurt.
I can't remember.
Somebody's out though, and it's been a revolving door at first base, and luckily they've got old boy here now. Beef Stroganoff playing first base.
Yeah, Beef Stroganoff. I don't know.
No, we can't both say the name wrong.
No,
you have to maintain that it's correct.
I'm making fun of you saying his name is Beef Stroganoff.
That's his name, right?
No,
Beef
it is not.
Stroganoff.
It's Nolan Shanuel.
Oh, Nolan
We're gonna
Shanuel.
learn it because I can't remember it. You can't remember it, but you seem to be okay not remembering
Beef Stroganoff. Hell of a
Nolan
player.
Shanuel. But I mean, this guy was just drafted.
11th pick
40, 50 days ago in the draft, has barely spent any time in the minors after playing at Florida Atlantic. So, I mean, I want to know how much of a, how much growing pains do we have kind of in the majors, and kind of, is it immediate and you're getting hits? It seems like every level he's been at, he's been able to kind of translate and be able to adapt to the pitching, but I don't know. It's a different level when you're in the majors.
I mean, it is a different level for sure, but also this is borrowed time you're playing with at this point.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
They don't care.
So it doesn't affect your standing within the franchise or the money you make.
Well, and obviously
they're
they're extremely high on this kid because they've been throwing him. I mean, you get 4 games in and you're to the next level.
Yeah, and it builds buzz with the Angels, too, I would imagine. A team that is talking about trading its star all year. Mike Trout's been hurt all year. You don't know if you're going to have Shohei back next year. Things aren't going well for you. It could be like positive momentum in the next year. Mason Wood makes less sense. No, you know what? Same thing. Could be positive momentum for fans to come see, but Cardinals seemingly haven't had a huge issue with fan support.
But also for the Cardinals, you have this opportunity. You're not going anywhere. You have this top prospect, and you have this window where there's about 40 games left, and you can play him in these games, get some at-bats, let people get a look at him without burning that rookie year. And then you can figure out in the offseason if you want to keep him up to start next year, or if you want to keep him down and send him back down to Memphis. And so, why not give him some reps?
True.
So it'll be fun to watch both these young guys tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing what both of them can do.
So this is the end of the year move. The beginning of the year move is you have to wait X amount of days to where they're a rookie this year, but it doesn't count against your team control where you keep them for that extra. This is year 0.
And now they say if you promote a rookie and he plays X amount of games, you get an additional draft pick. So they're like trying to.
Oh, so that's how they're countering that extra year of wow. So it really could go either way.
So like for the Cardinals, they made sure early in the season to get Jordan Walker a lot of at bats and a lot of games.
Because in years past, it would have been who was the first guy called up? Ellie. No, he wasn't the first guy.
This year?
Yeah.
Gunnar maybe?
No, Gunnar started, didn't he?
I think he did. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Ellie was certainly one of them.
He's definitely one of them, and he was the biggest by far.
Yeah, but how early was that in the year? That wasn't early.
It wasn't early.
That wasn't like right at the deadline where they're like, oh, here we're bringing him up.
It wasn't early because people were arguing that he should have made the All-Star team, and he had like just been called up 2 weeks. Yeah, and we were like, I was sitting there going, there's no way you send him to the All-Star game.
There was somebody, though, I can't remember, that it was that classic deadline. It's like, this is the first day we can call him up. Here he is. I can't remember who it would have been.
No, I can't either. But no, so like last year with Julio, since Julio played like all season with the Mariners last year, they got an additional draft pick in this year's draft. So the Cardinals were doing the same thing where they played him a lot early. Jordan Walker early, because I think last year was the first year they did that. And so this year they played him a lot so that they could get an extra draft pick, and obviously he had kind of shown that he earned his spot. So
until he didn't,
and then they sent him back down to Memphis. Get the ball in the air more.
That gets you the draft pick.
What, sending him down?
Him being there to start out with. Let me say, I shook my head no. No, him being there to start out with. Shaking your head no doesn't work on the radio.
No, it doesn't. It's audio. Not a visual. Unless
so they start him up there, they get the draft pick, they send him down. You start the draft, you draft him, you get the draft pick, you send him down, so you already have the draft pick. Maybe it was in their plan to send him down the whole time, and we just weren't privy to that information. But he also said he was affected by being sent down. So you would think that if it was the plan all... Well, you can't tell the guy it's the plan all along. What if he hits really well?
Exactly. And the way they said is when they sent him down, they were like, we want him to get the ball in the air more. Like that's not like a spur of the moment thing. You've known for a while that you want him to get the ball in the air more, I feel like.
Maybe we should have. Who knows? Let's get Mosaic on and ask him these questions.
Yeah, we'll work on that next week. We'll get
during the break. I'll see if I can DM him.
All right, let's go to a break. When we come back, big number of the day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. That's right, over 100 new Fords driven by the pros are being sold with demo pricing direct to the public. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up and drive like a pro while supporting a great cause. Visit LandersMemphis.com or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo-priced new Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship and lock in low APR financing. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo, Saturday, August 26, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We'll be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Salary starting at $60,700. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
Hotsy Pressure Washers and Detail Supplies of Memphis takes it all off. They are the #1 cleaning and equipment provider, period. Big or small, Hotsy has the solution. From hot water and cold water pressure washers to industrial soaps and detail supplies, Hotsy has you covered. For our Sports 56 fans, you get 20% off all detail products, so don't miss out on this amazing deal. Call Hotsy today, 901-379-0550, or visit their showroom, conveniently located at Austin P and I-40.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
You know, Brett Norsworthy, God bless him, he is taking a break. He's supposed to be relaxing, getting ready for the upcoming football season, and he has sent a big number again today. He sent one yesterday. I think he sent two yesterday. Sent another one today. The BMW Championship is going on right now, and Brett's big number for today, making it Bryant-centric, his big number today is $14.4 million. He said that is how much I would win if Max Homa holds on to his lead over the next 2 days and wins the BMW Championships, because I had him as my shock pick. So that would be a lot of money for me.
It would be.
He's up 2 strokes right now over Chris Kirk, who's 8 under. Max Homa 10 under. Yeah, I heard Dave mentioning him to you this morning that he had a good round, I guess.
Yeah, no, he had a good round. He's 4 under yesterday, and he was real good today. He's in first place, but
4 under yesterday, or 4 under today as
well.
But
you might not remember this. You picked him a lot last year in your sports.
Chris Kirk?
Yeah.
Really? I don't remember that at all.
You did.
I'm sure I did, because I had a
ringer.
I had a ringer, and the ringer I might be talking to the ringer right now. Who knows? But my big number today is 5. Yesterday we had some day baseball, and the Mariners were one of the teams that played, and it was unbelievable the performance Julio Rodriguez had in that game. He went 5 for 5 with 5 RBIs, including a home run and a double. Since returning from the All-Star break, Julio Rodriguez is hitting .321 with a .381 on base percentage. He also became the second player yesterday in MLB history to hit 20 home runs and steal 20 bases in each of his first 2 seasons. Bobby Witt Jr. is the other player that did that. He did that earlier this year in his second season. And so, I mean, really, you look at Julio and what he's done lately. He has 9 hits and 7 RBI in the last 2 games. He's going to be huge for this Mariners team, but I mean, really impressive stuff he's done over these last 2 games. Now, it is against the Royals, so a little bit of an asterisk there, but really, really fun to watch him in that game yesterday.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
There was a documentary on Fox Sports 1 yesterday, last night, at the same time as the Cardinals game.
Okay.
And it might have been that David Ortiz documentary that there. No, it couldn't have been, because it was focusing on the 1999 All-Star game in Fenway. Yeah. And they showed Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. Mm-hmm. Did you see this by chance?
I did not. I'm afraid I did not.
Never mind then. Something about when you were giving Brett's big number, something made me think of watching that, and for the life of me, I can't remember.
This is the second time you've forgotten something, isn't it? Or first time?
No. I didn't forget that. I mean, like, I didn't have this and forgot it. I don't know the name. I was just passively watching it, and I noticed it. And then this morning, I saw they were playing a David Ortiz documentary. And so it led me to believe, but David Ortiz would not have been a 1999 documentary about the All-Star.
No. Doesn't Fox Sports also have like a somewhat new Tua documentary that I heard you talking about?
That's not new. That I recorded that last year during football season. That's old.
I haven't seen any of their documentaries. Are they good?
The Tua one I watched about. No, the Tua one was good. I just didn't want to watch it, and I turned it off. I turned it off, and I recently deleted it. I'm like, I'm never going to watch that again. I deleted it.
Yeah.
No, they're pretty good, though. They're pretty good. They don't have the cachet of a 30 for 30 because I think they're just, I don't think they branded them anything. They're not saying, these are special stories.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or anything like that. They're just, doing stories.
Right.
And the name branding of 30 for 30 was important to make that work because ESPN had tried original content before and it didn't work. In fact, I have an ESPN original show I brought with me today.
I was looking at that. What is that? I've never heard of it.
Playmakers.
Uh-huh.
And it was this will be my big number because we got to get out of here.
Please,
this is my big Playmakers is my big number.
That's not a number, though.
That's okay. 54. 54. That's the player in the center of the picture. That's the number he's wearing.
Wow.
3. That's the number of discs in this collection. No, Playmakers is a show that ESPN came out with. It was an original series. It came out at the same time. Another original series they had called The Bronx is Burning, which was about the Yankees and George Steinbrenner and all that kind of stuff, the volatility in the early 90s, maybe late 80s, whenever Reggie Jackson would have played there, because Reggie Jackson was in it. Playmakers is like a fictional version of the NFL, where these players are playing pro football, and it's extremely dramatic and intense. Like, they'll be taking Adderall and getting, like, injections for pain and stuff like that. And the NFL, who was a partner of ESPN to show games on ESPN on Monday nights, did not like the idea of a fictional professional football league, the players taking drugs and getting in fights and getting these needle injections. It was just like glamorizing drug use, which is kind of what the NFL is. But the NFL did not like it. So the ESPN forced to make a decision between Monday Night Football and their new original series, Playmakers, made the correct choice of Monday Night Football, and Playmakers has been lost forever, unless you're like me and you have the 3-disc DVD set that I found in a thrift store in Iowa.
Wow. Now, I walked over there a little earlier, and I saw that lying there. I had no idea what it was. I was going to ask you about it, so I'm glad.
Yeah, Bronx is Burning and Playmakers. Bronx is Burning I actually like a lot better than Playmakers. Playmakers, when I was a kid, I really didn't like it, but I like it a little bit more now. It's pretty intense, though.
Interesting. Let's get to our final break of this hour. When we come back, we're going to talk some SEC football with Ty Richardson.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
You want the hottest summer deals in the Mid-South? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing. Get SUV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind. 253 miles of EPA estimated range. $292 a month, $49.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia EV6 Wind with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE. Only $425 a month, $49.99 due at signing. All 36-month leases. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte PE 659,993. MSRP 22,540. Nero P501 5237. MSRP 41,390. EV6 P560 3393. MSRP 50,200. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through 9523. Dealer stock only. Warranties. A limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Italian Tuesday, spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $8.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $10.95. And veggie plate, $9.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9, Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
Innovation Refunds has been helping small businesses that qualify to get a business payroll tax refund through the Employee Retention Credit, also known as ERC. You own a business, 5 or more employees, you could have money waiting to be claimed. If your CPA said they might not qualify for the ERC, it might be worth getting a second opinion. They'll collaborate with your CPA to assess your eligibility, ensuring you feel confident before submitting your application. Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. They work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Terms and conditions apply. They've been helping eligible businesses claim their ERC tax refund since 2021, and they might be able to help your business too. Go to innovationrefunds.com, see if you qualify. There is no upfront charge. They don't get paid unless you get paid. Call 1-843-REFUNDS, 1-843-REFUNDS, or go to innovationrefunds.com.
Make this the summer sales event is still going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Get ready to ride in your new 2023 Dodge Charger SXT. We Gossett $29,990 or $425 a month. Got some hauling to do? We Gossett covered in 2023 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman 4x4, $39,990 or $579 a month. Or how about some employee pricing from Gossett on all Jeep Gladiators? 2023 Jeep Gladiator Sport 4-door 4x4 now just $669 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike, or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 3500 down, Charger PH 508-657, MSRP 35930, Ram PN 671-333, MSRP 48390, Jeep PL 561602, MSRP 54655. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time as we start our third and final segment on this Friday afternoon. Bryant Dacus, J. Morgan Harder with you, and joining us now to talk some SEC football and about the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ty Richardson from ESPN Fort Smith joins us now. Ty, thanks so much for joining us. It's good to hear your voice. It means football season is here.
Before I let you ask the first question,
No,
Bryant,
please.
Ty, I don't know if you remember this or not. Bryant and I certainly remember it. You might not want to remember. It was a sad day for you. The last time you were just on with he and I when Brett was out was when Arkansas was playing against
I think it was Black Friday, was it
Black
not?
Friday playing against Missouri. It was the same day as an Arkansas basketball game, and you were nice enough to join us on that Black Friday while that Arkansas game was going on, and I know how tough a game that was
I think
to
Missouri
watch
scored
for you.
twice while we were talking to you.
So we're going to make sure we have a much better time
right.
today with you and have a real good conversation. It's going to start with whatever Brian asks you here.
Well, I hope it goes. I still had PTSD. I thought it would. I thought it was gone, but unfortunately, it's been sprung back up thanks to that. But no, I'm excited, guys. Football's almost back. Excited to be joining you guys on Friday again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to start off with the Arkansas Razorbacks because I think for good reason there's some excitement about what this offense can be with KJ Jefferson back, Rocket Sanders back at running back. But talk to me about this wide receiver group. Kind of going to have to replace some production out there at the wideout position. Who has kind of emerged and impressed in preseason that could become KJ Jefferson's top weapon?
Andrew Armstrong's a young man from Texas A&M Commerce that they got out of the transfer portal. Isaac Tesla, it was on Bruce Feldman's Freaks of College Football list. He's a 6'4" young man from Hillsdale College. Isaiah Satania is a kid from Fayetteville High School that's hoping to have a breakout, a redshirt freshman season. They brought back Bryce Stevens, who's their one guy that had over 100 yards this last year, at least wide receiver-wise. So there are definitely some questions and concerns. They're just hoping that the transfers and some of the younger guys can kind of solidify what should be a pretty good offense as long as they can make plays downfield, opening up lanes for Rocket Sanders, KJ Jefferson, and company.
Yeah.
What's the game that you're anticipating the most at home this year? I think the tougher games, at least in my glance at the Arkansas schedule, seem to be on the road more than they are at home. What's the most game you're anticipating the most at home this year for Arkansas?
I think the Auburn game. Because I think Auburn's going to be a team that in year one surprises a lot of people. Hugh Freeze. Everyone listening right now has an opinion about Hugh Freeze. The guy can coach football, and we've seen what he's done thus far in the transfer portal and on the recruiting trail. So I think it's only a matter of time before he gets that thing going. It might not happen this year in year one like Gus Malzahn did it in 2013, but it's definitely what Arkansas can do against what should be an Auburn team. I think that's not going to be an easy out. Arkansas is favored, I think, a little over one or so in that game, which is kind of surprising based on how some people feel about both squads.
Yeah. Well, when you look at this defense this year, I know last year there were some concerns with that defense, and when you kind of look at the rankings from last year, I mean, the passing defense ranked 130th in the country. Total defensive yards given up per game was about 123. Where do you need to see improvements early in the season on this defense?
I think it just starts with being able to get to the quarterback with four guys. And if you can do that, they've added a bunch of guys out of the transfer portal defensive line that are seniors. They got 9 defensive line members that are senior classmen. So I think it starts there. If you don't have to blitz as much, they were top 6 in the country in college football last year in getting to the quarterback. But they either got to him or they got beat for a 50-yard touchdown. There was no way around it. I mean, when you rank dead last in all of college football, it's really difficult to overcome that. So I think just, again, managing to get to the quarterback with 4 and then not giving up as many explosive plays, which they did time and time again last season.
Yeah.
Sam Pittman, obviously a coach. I shouldn't say obviously, but it seems to me Sam Pittman's a coach that a lot of people are very excited about, not only at Arkansas, but like across the SEC. He was featured multiple times. I think playing an 11 o'clock game on ESPN, they would feature him on game day, and he had some really good sound bites talking to that crew. Just a fun guy with a lot of energy. He didn't have a spring last year, if I'm not mistaken. He was hired later, and maybe that has to do with some of the optimism. Do you think if let's just say same record this year for Arkansas, what do you think the response to Sam Pittman as the coach or just his demeanor in general, do you think everything he says will come off as warmly, I mean, he's not a really warm guy, that's a poor choice of words. Do you think everything he says will be viewed as positively if they have another season exactly the way they did last year, now with the full offseason that he's had under his belt?
I don't think you can view it that way. He's entering year 4. First year went 3-7 in the COVID year, and they had won an SEC game the previous 2, so they were ecstatic. Arkansas fans were elated. Following year, they went 9-4. It was awesome. I mean, I thought Arkansas was going to scare 10 games. They almost did. Next year, they go 6-6 after being picked 3rd in the SEC West. They took a downturn. So now you have to, again, being picked 5th, you need to finish better than 5th. I'm not advocating to go 11-1 or make the college football playoff, but they need to be better than last year. The consensus would be, you're asking me what would the consensus be from the fan base if they went 6-6. They'd be disappointed, and they'd start to ask questions, which I think are fair. I think it's valid for what is the best duo maybe in all of college football with Rocket Sanders and KJ Jefferson, and then some other units they brought in. I don't think they're going to go 6-6. I think at the very least they'll go 7-5, but we'll have to wait and see.
So when you look at this Arkansas team this year, going in to the SEC West, that could be pretty difficult this year. Where do you predict at the end of the year they finish in the SEC West?
I have them, Brian, at 4th. I have them going 8-4, winning their bowl game, going 9-4. I picked LSU at 1, Alabama at 2, and Texas A&M at 3. That Ole Miss Arkansas 4-5 is a toss-up. Even though that game's in Oxford, the game I'm going to be at, can't wait to go down there. I think it's going to be really, really tight neck and neck. I'm really curious to see an Ole Miss country, and I know Brett's had some thoughts on this that we've discussed, is kind of what happens with the quarterback situation. Jackson Dart is there. They have Howard. They have Sanders. He knows a lot more about that than I do, but kind of how that plays out throughout the season, and especially when Arkansas comes into town on October 6th or 7th.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Ty Richardson from ESPN Fort Smith down in Arkansas. We've talked about Arkansas, but I want to talk about some of these other SEC schools this year. And the biggest one that I think a lot of people are really excited about what they can do this year is LSU. After 1 year under Brian Kelly, they go to the SEC championship game. You bring Jaden Daniels back for a second season in this offense. How good can this LSU team be in year 2 under Brian Kelly?
I have them winning the West, and I have them also winning the SEC championship.
Oh, wow.
I'm putting a lot of chips and a lot of cards on Jaden Daniels and then that defensive line. Adding some secondary players. Greg Brooks is an Arkansas transfer who has the number 7 this season, which we know is given to their best defensive back. That's going to be a team that's going to be real tough. Arkansas plays in week 4. They have to go to Tuscaloosa. I can't wait to see what LSU does. Now, of course, I hope they fall in week number 4.
Sure.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm very much a believer in the LSU Tigers, and I think they beat Alabama back-to-back years under Brian Kelly.
Wow.
Ty, who's the best player in the SEC this year? I know that kind of puts you on the spot, and it's difficult to compare different positions one to another. But who do you think, for your money, who would you say, if I got to pick one player, I'm starting my college program here, which player would you pick? Who's the best player in SEC?
Well, I think the guy that has the best chance of the Heisman Trophy is Jaden Daniels. In terms of the best player, he's on the same team. It's Harold Perkins. I mean, true freshman linebacker comes in and just absolutely wrecks the league. Has like 7.5 sacks, 70-plus tackles. But you don't see that as a true freshman. This kid was a top 10 kid overall, came out of somewhere in Texas, and Harold was just unbelievable last year. I think if you go to maybe the other side in the East, you say Brock Bowers. If someone told me Brock Bowers or Harold Perkins, you would get no pushback from me. Those are the 2 best players in the conference, I think.
Mm-hmm. When you look at Alabama, I know there's been a lot of question marks around who's going to be the quarterback for this team. I know last week earlier this week when the AP poll came out, there were some people that were a little upset and a little confused of why Alabama would be so high when they don't have a clear number 1 at quarterback. It's one of my favorite questions this offseason, so I'll ask it to you. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Maybe not week 1 against Middle Tennessee State, but week 2, the big game against Texas. Who's Nick Saban's number 1?
I think that it's still going to be Milroe at that point. And now Buckner or Ty Simpson could ultimately retain and take that job. I say retain, take that job. I just don't know how solidified that position is. That's why I think they're 2. I've been harping all offseason. I think Alabama's going to take a step back or kind of stay where they were. I have them losing to Texas week 2. I have them also losing to Arkansas and LSU. Maybe it's homerism in me that's coming out of these airwaves right now. I just think Arkansas has a quarterback advantage in that game. So I think Nick Saban's going to be visibly frustrated all season, and I hope this is the season that says, you know what, I'm done. I've got enough brains. Get me out of this. I don't think it's going to be, but I'm sure wishing it is.
Wow, that'd be something.
Call it quits after this one. Says, I've just done enough of this winning crap. I've had enough of this. Doing too much winning. Ty, let me ask you this, too. Looking at the SEC, first of all, no love for Quinshon Judkins on the Heisman question. Wow. No, the Ole Miss faithful in Memphis are not going to be happy with that one.
Well, he's outstanding. I mean, when him and Rocket basically being first and second, I mean, you just flip a coin with those guys. I think he did all that as a true freshman. So Judkins just is not going to be on a good enough team. Like Ole Miss they're not going to win 11 games, so he's not going to approach the Heisman conversation. He's going to bust probably 1,500 yards, but he's not in that discussion.
What do you make also? Brian just asked about the Alabama quarterback. I'll go just up the road to Auburn. Robbie Ashford officially not going to be the starter, at least in week 1. We don't know what's going to happen after that.
Thorne.
What do you make? I want to specifically. I love Robbie Ashford, man. I just something about
Maybe
the guy.
some bias coming out here. In this question.
I have no misgivings to think he has a ton of quarterback prowess, but I just liked the heart he played with in a tough season last year. What do you think about that quarterback change after 1 year at Auburn and what Hugh Freeze can do in his first year with a new quarterback?
So Freeze plucked Peyton Thorne out of East Lansing, and it's not like he blew the doors off or anything there. So my thing is I saw Ashford in person. I didn't see it. I know he's young. Maybe he can transfer into something. But if you're relying on that guy to be your starting quarterback in year 1, I think there's a reason he can, again, supplemented his room going in the portal. He's got a kid named Walker White, who's the best Arkansas quarterback in the class of 2024, committed. He's probably going to end up signing with Auburn. So Freeze knows. I mean, let's look at the track record of success, fellas, with transfers. Malik Willett, Bo Wallace, Chad Kelly. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you those are Heisman Trophy candidates, but they had pretty successful college stints when they were working with Freeze. So to that, I think there's a chance that Thorne maybe scares someone in a game or two. I'm not saying he's going to set the world on fire, but I wasn't really surprised because that's kind of Hugh Freeze's MO at this point.
We had one of our handicapping guests on earlier, and he had just put out a lot of his win totals for the SEC. And one team I asked him about, because I'm really curious about what this team can do this year, is Florida, replacing Anthony Richardson. Graham Mertz was announced as the starting quarterback last week, and their over-under right now sitting at 5.5. Our guest said he thinks, not his favorite bet by any means on the board, but he thinks they could go under 5.5, which when you kind of think back at some of these Florida teams, I know they're making the Swamp Kings documentary on Netflix coming out last year. I mean, it's just hard to believe a Florida team finishing with 5 or fewer wins. What do you expect this year from the Gators?
I think they're going to be terrible. Your handicapper knows a lot more about it than I do, but no quarterback. I know Florida has some of the best athletes in the country, but they haven't necessarily recruited under the likes of course, Urban Meyer, Spurrier. I mean, it's not the same, man. That school, that university has gone through some stints where even though it's Florida, and even though talent floods that state, they haven't clicked. They haven't figured it out. And I think this is going to be another instance where Napier, one of my hot takes at media days, and I honestly believe this is going to happen, is that he's gone after this year. I just think that Florida's going to make a change. I think they're going to lose to Georgia. They're going to get tarred by Georgia. Then they're going to wear the black uniforms against Arkansas the following week and lose that game as well. Arkansas is coming off a bye, so I think they're going to have an advantage. So I think Napier's done after this year, and I would not be surprised if they didn't get the full eligibility either.
All right, Ty, now I got to ask you this. Now we're going to break down Florida. I got to have you analyze this at this point. Why do you think why do you think that failure took place? Would you put a lot of the blame on Dan Mullen? And a lot of people say he literally, this is not hyperbole, he was not recruiting. Yeah. He just refused to go out and do the work. He just wanted to coach his guys. Would you put more of the onus on Dan Mullen in that situation, or do you think this is a failure that might stay with Billy Napier as he goes on to whatever he does in the future?
Well, it's a combination, right? Sure. I mean, you inherit what you have, and kind of like you said, Mullen, it was funny to parallel what Dan Mullen said compared to Kirby Smart. I mean, Smart basically said, my job is worthless, and I'm invaluable, or I'm worthless unless I recruit. And I'm paraphrasing, but sure. Mullen framed it completely different, something like, I'm not answering recruiting questions, but it's recruiting season. And in the SEC, especially with the portal and the ever-evolving change of college football, you have to recruit 24/7, and it's not a job that I want. It's not a job that either of you two want. But if you're going to assume the head coaching position at a D1 college football program in the Southeastern Conference, you have to recruit. Dan Mullen didn't seem interested. I don't know if Napier's cut out to it in the Southeastern Conference. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they blow up and get back on track guys, I just don't see it. So I think it's a combination of both. Your original question, Jay.
Well, I think when you look at just the SEC, and especially a place like Florida that has gotten so accustomed to winning, and now back-to-back coaches that have really struggled early in there, even if he is doing a good job recruiting, I think it'd be hard to kind of convince some of those boosters, if they finish with only 4 or 5 wins this year, to keep them around, just because I don't think Florida boosters and Florida fans will settle for back-to-back really mediocre and bad seasons under him. So it's wild to think, but I'm kind of with you. If they don't turn it around, Billy Napier could be in trouble. But Ty, last thing for you before we let you go, looking at this Tennessee team, I know there's a lot of hype around what this offense could be after you've seen the past couple of seasons at Tennessee, but Joe Milton going to be the starting quarterback. I know some people really are in love with Joe Milton and what he can be. Some people, they want to see him prove it a little bit before they completely buy in. Where do you sit on that?
If I could rephrase the question for you, Bryant, why is this the year Tennessee wins the national championship, Ty?
I don't know if that's the question I was going to ask, but whatever.
Brian, to your question, I think Joe Milton is a guy that originally was thought to be the starter heading into last season. Hooker, I think Milton got injured or Hooker just took it over. I'm forgetting the original starting point. We saw what Milton did in the bowl game. Guy could play. Mm-hmm. Now, he's not throwing to a Blitnikoff type of receiver in Jalen Hyatt. Still got Brew McCoy. I think guys, others' names Squirrel Williams. So there's still some dudes on that roster, but I don't know if it's going to be as flawless as some people think. But I do have them beating Georgia. I think I have them losing two games this year in the Southeastern Conference. But Alabama, I can't remember the other one. But, yeah, Tennessee's going to scare some people, and they're going to beat Georgia in November. I can't wait to watch that game, especially after Kirby and company curb-stomped them last year. I think Georgia's walking into a Lions den in Knoxville because that fan base is going to be angry after kind of Georgia smashed them last season.
Oh, man, I'm excited. One more question for you, because we do have a week 0 game involving an SEC team, Vanderbilt in action against Hawaii. I know Clark Lee loves to sell his team in the offseason, especially at SEC Media Days. But what do you think about Vanderbilt? Made some strides last year, winning a handful of games. Do you expect them to continue the upward trajectory, or do you think things change this year?
Vanderbilt, I can't see anything happening for Clark Lee and company. I voted him 7th. I can't tell you one player on that roster. They have to give me a reason to care, to be honest, Brian. I'm just there's probably some Vanderbilt fans listening because I know Nashville's 3 hours away, but when it comes to talking about Vanderbilt football, now I'll talk about Vanderbilt basketball. I'll talk about Vanderbilt baseball, but the football team has to give me a reason to care, and I honestly don't care if Clark Lee turns it around or not, because that's always going to be a program that's in a bottom feeder of this league until something changes. I know they got the renovations going on in the end zone, which aren't close to being done for the season, but it's I could not care less about Vanderbilt.
So the real answer to that question was you were not one of the 5 people that voted Vanderbilt number 1 at SEC Media Days.
No, I wasn't. Me and Brett talked about that, actually. I think during the show. So I was not one of those people.
That's too bad. Well, Ty, thanks so much for joining us. Really excited to get the year started. I know you are as well. And here in a couple weeks, it will be here, week 1.
Thanks so much, Ty.
Can't wait, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ty. Ty Richardson from ESPN Fort Smith over in Arkansas joining us.
I don't think he liked me rephrasing your question.
That's okay.
I don't think you liked it either.
No, I enjoy it. I don't like it.
I know you didn't like it, Brian.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it.
I don't like the Tennessee national championship.
It seems like Ty doesn't either, and he hates Vanderbilt. So I don't know. No, Ty did put Tennessee in his SC championship game. Clearly,
he did.
If they're beating Georgia, they're going to the SC championship.
Unless
there's a sleeper, he didn't like Florida. I don't think he likes Kentucky. Unless there's a sleeper we really don't know about.
So your SEC power rankings, if I could, tell me if I'm wrong about your SEC power rankings.
How do you know my power rankings?
Tennessee's number 1. Vanderbilt's somewhere up there. You like to anchor down. That's not what I wanted to do, Siri. Be quiet.
It's
whenever I anchor.
Sportstime with Bryant J. Morgan and Siri.
It's whenever I anchor down as Siri wants to get in on the action. But Vanderbilt's got to be up there, and
Yeah,
Ty didn't seem to like either of your Tennessee or Vanderbilt questions.
No.
Let's get to
You asked the Vanderbilt question.
Okay, your Tennessee question.
You asked the Tennessee question.
Yeah, but then you rephrased it. It became your question.
Yours was a little wordy. Mine was simpler. Why is Tennessee the best?
That's rule 1 in journalism.
That's right.
Is concise. We got to get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. That's right, over 100 new Fords driven by the pros are being sold with demo pricing direct to the public. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up and drive like a pro while supporting a great cause. Visit LandersMemphis.com or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo-priced new Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship and lock in low APR financing. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Is your roof leaking? Do you have water damage on your ceiling of your home or business? Do you need assistance gathering much-needed data and images from your storm-damaged roof for an insurance claim? Call Metro Builders, roof and restoration specialists, and schedule your free inspection. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out and evaluate any concerns you may have. Metro Builders Roof and Restoration. We accept all insurance carrier scopes. Call Metro Builders now. Each and every day, we provide clients many different types of data and estimates for their insurance carrier. These include estimate and photo reports of all damage, from the roof to water damage on rafters and ceilings and even studs and plates inside walls. Check out the local BBB for our 27-year history in construction in Memphis, or check us out online today at MetroBuildersMemphis.com. That's MetroBuildersMemphis.com for your local residential and commercial roofing and restoration experts. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Whatever vehicle needs you may be wishing for, we've got you covered at Gossett Mitsubishi. 41 MPG highway that can turn on a dime, that's 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $17,395 or $249 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross combines luxurious styling with cutting-edge technology, generous cargo room, and versatility, $29,100 or $399 a month. And the powerful and fun-to-drive 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander, $29,580 or $499 a month. And you'll always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 PH 006839, MSRP 17895, Cross RZ 00688, MSRP 29850, Outlander PZO 59809, MSRP 30080, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
A little summer drive adventure is all yours in one of the hot new all-star Chevys. Olive Branch is where all the Chevys are. Silverados for sure. They have financing as low as 1.9 on most of the new Silverados, and your good credit deserves it, and you'll get it at All-Star. Trail Boss, High Country, and you can see Kevin or Jeff to order any custom Silverado or any new Chevy you want. Drive one of these Tahoes or Equinox. That'll be a sweet last summer drive for any adventure. If you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or any pre-owned, All-Star's loaded up with Silverados, Corvette Stingrays. And if it's not at All-Star, just ask Jeff and he'll find it for you. And Jeff and Kevin told me to thank all of you. Brought your cars, your trucks, your SUVs to All-Star to sell. Thank you to everyone who've been bringing their cars and trucks down to All-Star to sell. You can even get a check for some crazy great cash today. Remember, it's not South Haven, not Mount Moriah or Bartlett or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Welcome back into Sports Time as we wrap up this Friday. And look, we've made it to the weekend. It's officially Friday evening after 5, which I just say is the weekend. We've gotten to it, and I know you're looking for a night out, so let me point you into the direction of 117 Prime. Located at 117 Union Avenue, opening 4 p.m. daily, 117 Prime offers perfect steaks cooked to your liking over hickory wood for the best flavor in town. And the meat, it's regional sourced for the best taste, so you don't have to worry about it traveling cross-country like some of these other steakhouses. Pair your steak with a wine from their award-winning wine menu, or switch it up with their wine of the month. Not a fan of beef? No problem. 117 Prime also offers outstanding seafood like oyster, shrimp, and lobster. Also, get down there between 4 to 6 Tuesday through Saturday and enjoy the best happy hour that downtown Memphis has to offer. To make reservations, head over to 117prime.com or call 901-433-9851. That's 901-433-9851 for 117 Prime. Jay Morgan, when did we start ranking high school football teams?
Sonny Moore's already done it. Let me actually look those up right now. You know Sonny Moore?
I don't. Who's Sonny Moore?
So Sonny Moore is a fella. I actually don't know anything about his credentials, but he does Sonny Moore. He does his Sonny Moore power rankings.
And high school football.
In Tennessee specifically.
Oh, in Tennessee. Well, I'm watching this on ESPN. They've got a high school game
Here we
on
go.
right
Tennessee
now.
high school football rankings. How do you want to do this?
Well, let me. They've got. I'm guessing this is national rankings on television. There's a Georgia high school football game on ESPN. One team's ranked 22nd. The other school's ranked 15. I don't know how we got this.
Guess who's number one
in the whole state of
Tennessee?
Tennessee?
Of Tennessee, according to Sonny Moore.
Can you give me what region of the state it's in?
If you let me do another Google search real quick,
because you don't know where the school is. So
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
No,
it was such
this city.
Known school.
No, it is. It is. I just don't know. It's the name of a city. I just don't know exactly where this city is located. Oh, it's close to us. It's in. I guess it's in Fayette County.
I don't know.
Oakland.
Really?
Oakland High School.
They're
number one.
Number one school.
Number 2, Lipscomb.
I believe.
Alcoa, that's in East Tennessee, way east. It's 3, right? Isn't Alcoa way east?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought Alcoa was closer to Nashville.
Oh, it's in Central Tennessee?
Maybe. I'll look it up.
You look it up.
Yeah.
Alcoa, Knoxville West. I know Knoxville's way east.
We know where that
That's
is.
4th. Greenville.
No, you're right. It looks like Alcoa
way east.
Is way east.
Mm-hmm, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's just south of Knoxville.
Montgomery Bell, 6th. Maryville, which is also way east, 7th.
How many does he do?
Macaulay, 8th.
Does he do every Tennessee team?
Literally every team that plays football
Holy
in Tennessee.
cow.
He'll also do odds for each game. I'll get to those in a second.
You're kidding.
Here. Let's see local area teams.
Yeah, give me a local team. Who's the highest local team?
Macaulay's 8th. That's sort of local, right?
I guess so.
Montgomery Bell is not local, but they're a team that people are familiar with. They're 6th. Haywood County is 10th. They're real good. I believe that's a county in Munford's league, isn't it? Haywood County?
I think so, yeah.
Haywood Patriots, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're real good. Elizabethton, I don't know where that is.
Sounds west.
Baylor is 15th. No, Henry County is the Patriots. I'm sorry, they're 17th.
Yeah, we played Henry County.
Henry
a
County's
lot
good,
in
man.
high school.
Henry County's really good.
We used to go up to Henry County a lot.
No, they're a powerhouse. Mm-hmm. They knocked Munford out 2 years ago, and they were real good. Ravenwood, Fayetteville, Farragut is 25th. Tullahoma is 26th.
I almost got a job in Tullahoma.
Nashville Christian 29th. Wow, not a whole lot of local flavor here at the top, although there's a lot of schools in Tennessee. I'm going down here.
Brownsville is
Brentwood 32.
Haywood is kind of
a lot of Nashville represented. Lebanon 36th. Ensor 38th. Lost their coach. USJ 41st.
So there's no local schools anywhere.
Knoxville Webb 44.
Holy cow.
Covington 46th. Lausanne 47. Okay. Germantown 48.
Wow, here we go.
Cleveland 50. Father Ryan 52. Friendship 51. Brentwood 53. Hardin County 54. Hardin County is on the rise. I'm telling you right now. Hardin County's ranked above Munford, and Hardin County is for real, man. I'm telling you right now. They've gotten a lot better. I watched them play 2 years ago, and they were young, but they ran great offense and stunk. And last year they were for real because they were running good offense. They had been running it for a year.
Everyone's
the same guys because they were getting their asses kicked as like sophomores and stuff, and then now they're juniors and seniors, and now they're good. It's a different
top 50 school in the state of Tennessee. How about
we start
that?
developing. Collierville's 58.
Collierville's got some dudes on their team this year. They got their quarterback's a Missouri commit.
Pope John Paul 63. I still haven't gotten to Christian Brothers.
No.
Knoxville Catholic 66. I've heard Christian Brothers lost a lot though, so they're
I think so.
Like replacing everything. Houston 71.
Germantown's got some dudes too. You said them earlier.
Germantown's way up there.
A North Carolina commit.
48.
They got a bunch of commits on their team. They're going to be good. They were. I talked about them earlier. They were beating whoever they played last night 42-0. So I mean they've got some dudes on their team.
Marshall County 72. Davidson Academy 76.
Interesting.
FRA 83, Munford 85.
Oh wow, that is some disrespect.
Wow, yeah, this is super disrespectful. Look at this. Munford 85. Who's senior quarterback going to play D1 football, right? They have D1 athletes on their team.
Jordan Bell, is that his name?
Jordan Bell. They have D1 athletes.
Right.
Hey, Christian Brothers might have D1 athletes too. Christian Brothers 88.
Wow.
Munford 85.
Wow.
Seems a little close to me.
We need to set up a.
We haven't played any games yet, so I sympathize with Sonny Moore.
We'll know after tonight.
MUS 90.
Wow.
Should I keep going down here or should I go to the very bottom? Is now the fun going to the very bottom?
Yeah, tell me who the last school is.
You get to a certain level and they do them alphabetically. Here we go. 352 is Lakeland Prep. Okay, so the last 6 schools here are new.
Okay.
Lakeland Prep, Eagleton Academy, James Lawson. It's crazy he can play these teams by himself, James Lawson can. Kirkwood, Providence Christian, and Pure Academy. The last place team that is not new.
No, Pure's not new. Tevin Carter played for Pure.
It says new, brother.
Really? Maybe it's different, Pure Academy.
It says new here.
Huh, okay.
Pickett County.
Don't know anything about Pickett
They're
County.
in last place. The lowest rated local school is Zion Christian local?
I don't think so.
Is Hillcrest local?
No. Maybe.
I think Hillcrest might be local.
Maybe.
Bluff City in Memphis. That sounds like a charter school.
Very local.
332. Manassas is 330.
Oh, yeah, Hillcrest is local. I'm tripping.
Yeah, Hillcrest is local. They're lowest. Zion Christian right above them. What did I just say? Bluff City. Manassas.
Bluff City got beat by FACS last night.
Memphis Business School. Douglas stinks. They're 5A. Douglas is a 5A school.
The season hadn't even started yet. I was not saying any team stinks.
No, it's not their fault. Douglas is a 5A school that has a 15-man roster.
You're kidding.
I mean, it might not be that small, but last year it was not big, man. Wow. I mean, it was not a big roster at all. Yeah, it really is.
I hate seeing
and it's a 5A school.
Yeah.
5A. Either reclassify the damn schools or figure out this athletic stuff.
John Varas was telling us last week that St. Benedict
Yeah, but that's they're in St. George. But that's private school, though.
Yeah,
it's the public school reclassification that's struggling because they're all classified based on the districts where kids go to those schools. But now, because you can go to any school you want to, all of the athletic programs are being picked apart by other schools. And so public schools that are 5A, 6A, I don't know about 6A. I know 5A is being left with kids. They're playing schools. Inner city Memphis especially have no kids in them. None. I mean, I'm watching them come out to Munford, and you're seeing teams, like I'm saying, with 20-man rosters. Everybody's playing both sides of the ball.
Right. Yeah,
they have no chance playing 5A football.
Yeah, no, that's very tough. But it should be a fun night of high school football, but we need to get to a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. Talk about Crunch Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way. Offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, everyone. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Just go to FanDuel.com, use Gas Manager promo code to get in on the action. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Just go to FanDuel.com, again, use Gas Manager promo code to join now or sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account. Must be 21 or over, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit is required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but call-up season is officially underway. The Cardinals called up their second top prospect this year. Earlier it was Jordan Walker. Last night it was Mason Wynn. We talked about it a little bit yesterday on if and when they could call up Mason Wynn. I saw last night that the reason was because 45 days is as long as you can play and less than 130, 35 at-bats to still be considered a rookie the following season. So they're trying to preserve him to be a rookie next year, and that's why they've waited all this time. He also just needed some more work in AAA, but he's looked good over the past couple of months, and now he'll be with St. Louis. He's in the lineup tonight. He'll be starting batting ninth and playing shortstop. And then the other call-up that I'm a little surprised about, the Angels are calling up their 2023 first-rounder, Nolan Shanuel, who was just drafted 40 days ago with the 11th overall pick to the Angels. We know we've talked about it a lot through the baseball season, the off-season, about how the Angels have kind of started the quick pace of getting top prospects through their system and to the majors. We've seen it with a couple now, and now Nolan Shanuel has joined that list after only 40 days of being in the minors and being post-drafted, I guess you could say. He's now going to be with the Angels, and I assume will be suited up tonight.
Now, why do I care about, what's my friend's name for the Angels?
Nolan Shanuel.
Why do I care about Shanuel exactly? What position does he play?
He's a first baseman. I just think it's interesting. I mean, how many times do you see a...
No, not to say why do I care about a player getting called up, but what is this gentleman's significance? Like, what position does he play?
He's first baseman.
He's a first baseman.
And he's been hitting the ball really well.
Okay, there you go.
He's been hitting the ball really well. I don't know. I shouldn't say, I don't know about for power. I don't know how many home runs he's hit, but I know he's hitting about 350, 360 through all the levels he's gone through. So he's really, I know at one point he was hitting like something crazy, like 560 through like 6 games or something like that. So
hitting dingers.
Well, I don't know if he's hitting dingers. I just know his average is really good. He's getting hits.
Help the OPS at all?
I don't know. Good question. I'm sure I could. I mean, I have a computer right in front of me. I could look it up.
Not necessary. Not necessary. I was just interested. I've heard of Mason Wynn. Never heard of. Tell me my man's name again.
Nolan Shanuel. He is a first baseman
for the Angels.
For the Angels. Now he was taken in the first round,
11th overall pick. I heard
from.
I don't remember that.
Florida Atlantic.
Wow, FAU.
FAU, a new American team this year.
Shanuel,
wow,
what a guy! What a player that guy is. What I learned today?
What did you learn today?
What I learned today is Heisem from Big Brother 25 has a little bit of a God complex. He's talking to everybody like he owns them a little bit. If you are not watching Big Brother 25,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Get on the train with us. We had another live eviction last night. I don't want to spoil who was evicted, right? I don't want to do that, correct? Because even if people that are watching might not be caught up with what happened last night,
Sure.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
And so, but he's got a little bit of a God complex. He talks to the camera in a weird way when he's in the diary room.
He doesn't
he? He pauses and he's talking very matter-of-factly.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of weird. Maybe he's just putting on for the camera. But no, on TikTok this morning, I saw a video of Heisem from doing a testimonial back from before he was cast on Big Brother.
The same way.
This talks the same exact way. He's got a little bit of a God complex. Heisem does. We'll have to see what happens in the Big Brother game.
You liked Heisem at the beginning. He was kind of one of your guys.
No, I mean, he's a nice guy. I just think he's a genuine guy. He's really good at conversation. If you watch the live feeds, he's a really good conversationalist. But a little bit of a God complex on old boy Heisem.
Yeah.
No, it's like you get to know somebody. It's been 2 weeks now. I've been getting to know Heisem. I'm learning a little more about him, and the more I learn about him, This guy.
Just not a huge fan.
Well, he's all right. Just a little bit of a God complex.
Just the way he's carrying himself right now.
Way he's wired
around the house. I feel that. What I could have done without is the announcement earlier today that Sam Howell will be the starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders. And I mean, I guess who else do you go to if you're the Washington Commanders? But I don't know, just seems kind of early. He only has one start under his belt after being a fifth-round selection in last year's draft. Now, this is a guy that before his junior season at North Carolina, he was projected to be a first-round pick, so the talent is seemingly there. I mean, he was once a highly touted draft choice, but he ends up falling into the fifth round. He only played in one game last year. It was week 18. He goes out there against the Cowboys when Washington was completely eliminated and threw for, I think, a little over 150 yards, threw a touchdown, threw an interception. But they said he's done enough. Ron Rivera talked about how this week in the joint practices against the Baltimore Ravens, this would be the time that he has to show that he is good enough to be the starting quarterback. Seems like he's done enough. They'll play Monday night. I believe that's an ESPN game, a Monday night ESPN game. So against a Ravens team that doesn't lose preseason games, Sam Howell will play, so we'll kind of get to see what to expect from him as the starting quarterback in the regular season.
Old Sammy Howell.
How about this? I also saw this, speaking of him. Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver for the Commanders.
I'm familiar with his work.
Through 4 years, he has had 10 different quarterbacks throw to him.
I was literally about
to
say is like, wow, some of these teams in the National Football
It's just a revolving door.
The quarterback position is tough. I remember seeing a couple days ago, I was looking for old videos of something, and I stumbled upon an old ESPN article from 2018-19 about Blake Bortles being the starting quarterback in Jacksonville, and it made me think about exactly what you're talking about there. A total revolving. Now, it's not the same team, obviously, not the same franchise, but some of these franchises are just going through revolving doors of quarterbacks, and they're just struggling to find something. And it's just like the youngest guy is the best guy for now, then we'll move on to another guy. What makes that youngest guy any more viable? I guess the prospect that he could be your guy for the future, whereas an older guy that you know is a career backup might not have that. But
maybe
it seems like that's a pretty big gamble to take for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, and I understand, Sam Howell's now in his second year. He kind of sat behind quarterbacks last year. Carson Wentz was the starter last year, so sat behind and kind of learned from Carson Wentz. But
learned a lot.
I kind of like the kind of bridge starter as a veteran. Well, that. But I mean, what was
I agree. I like bridge starters though.
Yeah,
Pat Mahomes didn't start his rookie year. Aaron Rodgers didn't start his rookie year. Tom Brady, for the most of his rookie year, didn't start. So there's a good track record of guys learning.
But hey, maybe last year was his bridge starter before this year, and he'll be the starter. But I mean, you talk about kind of this revolving door. What was it yesterday? We talked about the Colts, or 2 days ago when the Colts named Anthony Richardson the starter, and talked about the last
one of those was Andrew Luck hurt, someone else, then Andrew Luck again.
Yeah, and so I mean,
starting quarterbacks for the Colts over the last however many years.
It was like 8 or 9 years. It's been a different starting quarterback for week one every single year. There's been no back-to-back same starter, which is crazy, but you're right. It's just kind of a revolving door in some of these franchises.
What I could have done without was that long conversation we just had, because it caused me to forget what I could have done without. What could I
That's
have done
on
without?
me.
I just had a great what I could do without, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what I could do without.
Maybe you'll remember it.
How about I'll just do this?
Okay.
What I could do without right now is all of these backups starting in these preseason games. I'm ready to see a real player here or there. You know what I mean? I know they're getting all their reps in practice all week where they're playing against their opponent. But the joint practices, I don't get to see these guys, and I sure would like to.
That's a good thing you could do. I mean, hey, the season's right around the corner. We'll be here before you know it. So not too much longer. Where are you beaming tonight?
I think I got so many options. First of all, 2 great Apple TV games, Reds, Blue Jays. I would love to beam to Cincinnati. Yankees, Red Sox from Yankee Stadium on Apple TV+. I would love to beam to Yankee Stadium. I don't think they're recording any tonight, peel behind the curtain, but tonight, Friday night, TNT, AEW Rampage, and that is it's from Nashville. They recorded a lot of these on Wednesday, but I guess I could technically beam to Nashville. That's all the places I want to beam. Where are you beaming?
I think I'm going to beam to New York. Panthers Giants starting just in a couple minutes on NFL Network. You'll see Bryce Young again in action. You'll see the Giants in action. So it'll be kind of a good look to see what these two teams look like, especially for Bryce Young to see how he looks in week 2 of preseason. Like you said, a ton of Major League Baseball games tonight as well and this weekend. But that's all the time we have for today and this week. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
I have got an idea for a movie tie-in for Central Barbecue.
I don't like where this is going.
The Central Barbecue Oppenheimer Special. It's an explosion of flavor.
No.
So, Central Barbecue's ribs are the bomb?
No. Plus, Central Barbecue doesn't need that kind of promotion. Central Barbecue's food is the promotion.
Central Barbecue's hot sauce is
I'm telling you, Central Barbecue has always sold itself because you can't get better barbecue